reaction show. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. It's been a bit of a day today, to say the least. Um, yeah, hope everyone's doing okay out there. Yeah, just going to talk a little bit of wrestling, basically. Sorry, I'm still just adjusting my camera. Um, I'm going to have to do this with notepaper tonight. My laptop has decided to die, as kindly donated, kindly donated by the brother. Shout out, bro. Great technology there, mate. Yes, I can't actually click onto the internet at the minute, and I've got no idea what it's doing. So let me see if I can get back on. Nope, still no internet. Yeah, so that is not helpful at all. I'm just going to try and get this stupid thing on again, and then I'm going to ignore it. So anyway, right. Yeah. So welcome to the show. This will be on YouTube podcast and YouTube video at some point tomorrow, probably in the afternoon. Can I just say, your boy will not be on for too long tonight. I is absolutely knackered, basically. And when I say knackered, I mean absolutely exhausted. So we've had a couple of uh, slightly late nights in recent times, to say the least. I trying to think. I went out on Sunday, I think it was, and contrived to get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I did exactly the same thing last night because it was payday and I had to run all over the place, sort bills out, this, that, and the other. And long story short, I am absolutely shattered, basically. So this is going to be a bit of a quick Monday Night Raw wrap up. Obviously, if anyone wants to interact, you're more than welcome to. Um, I'm just trying to think if I've got any announcements, any admin to do. Oh, yes, there is some admin. So I'll do this at the end as well. But just to let you guys know, speaking of Monday Night Raw, I am going to Monday Night Raw. Very much looking forward to this. So subscribers might have seen that I put what you call it, a post out earlier, basically saying that I'm off to see Monday Night Raw in Liverpool. Which, considering I'm a bit of a massive red there. It's like a perfect thing for me. I absolutely love the city of Liverpool. Take aside, like, obviously my love for the team. Absolutely love Liverpool. Love the people there. Just class city, class people. So yeah, I'm going to go and see Monday Night Raw at the. I think it's called. I don't know if there are any Scousers in the chats at the minute. I'm going to see Monday Night Raw. The I think it's called the M S Bank Arena, M&S Bank Arena, something along those lines. I'm not sure. I think it's on the docks or something. I'll need to find out where it is. But yeah, I'm basically going to Raw on the 28th of May, so it'll be like in a month or something, give or take. So I'm going to go down there, um, basically, because I'm a very cheap Yorkshireman. I've already bought coach tickets because I ain't paying like 50 quid to get there on a train. Simple as that. So I think I got the coach tickets for like 9 quid, but it's like 3 hours there, 3 hours back. But it's fine. I'll probably be drunk most of the time anyway. So, but yeah. Hey, Damien, how you doing, lad? You all right? Nice to see you. Hope you're having a good day, pal. Um, yeah, so basically, like I said, I'll probably do a bit of a wrap up of this at the end, but the plan is get to Liverpool about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Literally, I'm going to get my bag, throw it straight in the hotel room, get straight back out, go to a couple of boozers, and then get to the arena, basically. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a live stream just outside, not for like hours, obviously, because I need to actually watch the wrestling basically. So I'll just be on for about 5 or 6 minutes, something like that. Show you the outside. Then I'll be doing obviously a vlog like I usually do for all the wrestling stuff that's on the channel that some of you might have seen. And then obviously I'll be posting shorts as we go along, posting images. I'll put the images on YouTube as well. If any of you guys want to follow me or follow me already, I'm on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. What's the other one? Reddit and Substack. So it's all going to go on there basically, and then I'll do like a little, I don't know, a match report or something along those lines. Most likely in a bar. because yes, I've been given a husband pass again. Shout out to the wife, um, who actually, I say that, I don't think, I can't remember. I don't know if I've actually told the wife that I'm going. I think I might have asked for the husband pass for something else. So, yeah, this might require flowers and me to start the romancing early, which never works at all. So. But yeah, basically, it's on the May the 28th. There'll be a boatload of content, this, that, and the other. And then I'm actually in Liverpool for a second day because I'm staying at the going to stay at the docks. I think. In fact, I'm going to book my accommodation tonight. So the next day, basically, I'm just going to have a bez around Liverpool. I'm going to go to Red Brick Market because I've been to the one in Sheffield and that was really cool. And I want to see the Liverpool one. I'm going to go to the Baltic Triangle because I've been to Liverpool like millions of times and I've still not been to the bloody Baltic Triangle. So I'm going to go there, have a look round, go to a shitload of pubs, basically, drink lots of beer, which should be cool. I'm going to go to Forbidden Planet, Worlds Apart, all the geeky stores. Obviously, I'm going to Anfield, goes without saying. So I'll do like a live stream from there or something. In fact, I'm going to Anfield 10 days before that, funnily enough. So I'm actually going to be in Liverpool for about 5 days in total over the course of about 12 days, something on those lines. So yeah, it's like the biggest crossover ever of all time, like WWE and Liverpool. So yeah, it's very, very good. Looking forward to that. Should be very, very cool. Have I got anything else to tell you guys about? Not off the top of my head, but I'll try and go through it at the end. I would go through my notes, but that you can't see it, but I'm literally flicking the V's at my laptop at the minute. If you missed the start, my laptop has basically just died. You know the bit where it's got the connection thing? It's refusing to connect to the internet, despite the fact that everything else on the house is connecting to the internet. Which, considering I keep all my notes for these shows that I do, everything's on that laptop. So this is really unhelpful. So I've had to like scribble down some notes for Raw. Um, I've literally just finished watching Raw. That's why I was kind of late. So apologies for that. In terms of Raw, I don't know, to be honest. It was. I thought the first half of Raw was really good, and then the second half it wasn't crap, but it kind of like just. It wasn't rubbish. It kind of just trailed off. It was really, really, really. I don't know. It was. I wasn't feeling the crowd. I've got to be honest. I think it came from Laredo, Texas. So Laredo's where Roxanne Perez was. Try again. Where Roxanne Perez is from. So obviously she was super over in Laredo, but I don't know. The crowd was like not antagonistic. it was a bit weird to be honest. They cheered the people that you thought they would, but then the cheers stopped. Like even Roman was struggling to get um oh hello I can never pronounce your name, dude. Red. Oh dear. This is why I need new glasses. Red WS Conford. I'm just going to call you Red, dude. Yes, Red. I did see that message, by the way. I try not to do politics. How do I put this? If the gentleman who you just typed in a minute ago was to knock at the door, I would invite him in for a pint. Put it that way. Yeah, that's basically who we are going to be endorsing, shall we say, in about 10 days' time, whenever it is. But yes, I usually try and avoid politics. To be honest, Red, other than I do a lot of interesting things on Reddit. Let's just put it that way. If you want to follow me on Reddit, you can see my political humour in all its glory. I also do Substack articles from time to time about various Richard heads, shall we say, who are um, doing very naughty things in our country, in my opinion. But yeah, I usually try and steer clear. To be honest, mate, it's not like I don't avoid it on here because like, oh, I'm scared of my opinion. It's just like I honestly don't. I can't be asked with arguing with people. To be honest, I really it's when people are like, oh, that's because you can't win an argument. It's like no, it's because I'm 46 and I'm tired. I did all my raging against the machine 15, 20 years ago, and I just cannot be asked with it anymore. I have my opinions. Of people say, Leon, I don't like your opinions. Fair enough. Don't care. Really could not care less. So yeah, that's kind of why I avoid it too. But yes, to answer your question, to be totally blunt, yes, I will be voting for the gentleman that you just typed in a minute ago. Anyway, oh, actually, folks, I have got some breaking news. We actually have a new member of the family, and a brand new wife for Mr. Meta. People have been wanting to see Mrs. Meta, so check this out. That is the brand new wife. That is Rhea Ripley. Let me give her a kiss. Yeah, I wish. Yeah. Now, actually, while I'm on, I'm going to do some shorts of this. I'm going to do like a because I do like toy stuff as well on the channel. If you don't know, it's Geek Boy does toy hunts. So I've got like loads of toys, like wrestling stuff. In fact, all the wrestling toy stuff should be on Geek Boy does wrestling, I think. But I have got a whole section of toys because I'm a big geek, as the name implies, and some of you may have seen it before. But I've got a third bedroom upstairs that I call the command center. In fact, I'll tell you what, Rhea can sit here with me if she really wants to. You sit there, wife. In fact, I might just like this might be my gimmick. I might just have Rhea down here because people do say like, Leon, why don't you put something in the background? It's like, guys, I'm not one of these tech whizzes. Like I said, I am 46, and long story short, all my wrestling stuff is up there. Um, I when you've been at work all day, like shifting posters and stuff downstairs and backgrounds. Long story short, I can't be asked. Basically, I know I should because you are literally just looking at a big fat bloke next to a wall and a couple of pictures of Greece in the background. So I appreciate it's not the most aesthetically beautiful thing in the world, but yeah, I will try and get better at it. It's just me being a lazy bugger, basically. Although I think I may have learned how to. You know that thing that the young people do on YouTube where they've got I'm trying. This is how shit I am with technology. You know that thing they do when they're there, but they put a background on in the background. You kind of see a little bit of fuzz around the heads and everything. I think I've worked out how to do that, so I might give it a go. Um, if I could just get a wrestling background, that'd be good. Then again, like I watched Denise Salcedo, and she's just next to a curtain. You know what I mean? But I mean, she's got a couple of wrestling figures here and there. But yeah, it's just laziness on my part. But yes, I'm going to do a review of this figure because I actually went into a toy store today. Um, yeah. Hello, Liam Jones. How you doing, fella? You all right? Calling a spare room the command center is the most charming geek thing ever. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I remember the first time that when we first moved in here, it was when my lad was like a little baby, basically, and there was chaos and nappies and takeaway boxes all over the bloody house because we didn't get a minute to the bloody thing, basically. Those of you who have had babies before, where I'm coming from. And when we were doing the upstairs, because that was the very last room we did, that's where all my shit is basically. Um, I think I just said, "Oh, this can be my command center," and Mrs. was just like, "Behave yourself, lad." And all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh, command center," and she literally looked and went, "Oh my god, you're going to call the third room command center, aren't you?" I was like, "Oh yeah." So yeah, 12 years later, it's still the command center, but that's where all my geek stuff is. I would do pretty much all of my live streams upstairs because it's so much better up there. Obviously, some of you would have seen. Usually, when if Liverpool are playing on a Saturday night, I can do it up there because the missus and the child are down here playing with the Lego and doing God knows what else and wrecking the house basically. Um, and I just go up there because like I've got movie posters, I've got the Liverpool stuff, I've got the wrestling, and so on and so forth. and it just looks cool, and that's your background. But I'm not actually allowed stuff down here, which is infuriating when it's your own house. And it's just like, why can't I have any posters down here? It's like it doesn't fit the aesthetic of the room. And I've done this before. Um, it's when she says we're meant to be adults, chicken, and we're meant to be welcoming thought to the house, to art and culture. And just bear with me 1 second. Art and culture, love. So what the hell do you call this exactly? Let me just move the ring. There you go. Yeah, if you wonder what the hell that was, by the way, um, that is our Lego room. So I can't have a poster of Rhea Ripley up, for example. And yet, conversely, we've got like literally about 30 million of boxes of Lego in this room. And I was like, well, how is that adult? And the response is always like, well, Lego's for adults, chicken. And it's just like, well, yeah, so's pro wrestling. Yeah, I don't know. Lads, if you're out there, I know this is a bit of a generic thing to say, possibly not the best PC thing in the world. There is no point arguing with your wife, especially like design stuff around the house. Just let your wife do it, and you'll be a lot happier because it is complete and utter waste of your time. You won't get anywhere, and you'll end up doing exactly what your wife says you tells you to do, and you would have wasted several hours of your life arguing away where you could have just grabbed a beer, basically. And yes, that is very 90s and very old school, but let's have it right. It's the truth. So there we go. That's about as like borderline manosphere as I get, really. I just literally like my wife, just put whatever you want in the house from now on. I simply do not care anymore. So anyway. Let's have a look. Hello, sir. There is a friend called. He sent me here to say hello. Oh, very good. Hello. My goodness. I tell you what. I need to go to Specsavers. Capadox. That's called, eh? How you doing, Capadox? Oh well. Welcome. Thank you to Ronaldo. I think I have spoke to Ronaldo before. Actually, it does ring a bell. Not for a while though. I'm assuming he's watched one of my wrestling bits and pieces. But there we go. To be honest, I call that incredibly organised. Oh, Liam, literally. So if you, by the way, folks, the ones listening on podcast, if you're wondering where's the wrestling, this is how these shows go. So it's fine. I will get to it eventually. Um, if I attempt to move any of the Lego, because I have OCD. Have never been diagnosed, but I know I've got OCD. It's one of these. I don't like piles of stuff on the floor. That like things have places that they go. So all the DVDs over there, all the Lego over there, bits and pieces in here. If it was just me on my own, everything would be in boxes. Everything would be alphabetized, and it would be like straight and this, that, and the other. It annoys the hell out of people because I do it at work as well. But you should see my desk. It is literally like you could eat your dinner off my desk. I must clean it about twice a day as it is, and like I cannot stand mess. Conversely, my missus and the lad have both got ADHD. And this doesn't always count for all ADHD people because they're all different and have their own little foibles, like all of us do. But they are very messy ADHD. They're both very creative. My son's like an artist already. Like some of the things he draws are just insane. The missus is like she was a visual merchandiser. She runs her own shop. She can draw as well. Some of these things that she creates with Lego just on Saturday night, I'm just like, how the hell did you just do that? She's like, I don't know. Um, Whereas I'm the complete opposite. I have to have order. I have to know what I'm doing basically every hour of every single day. Like yesterday, for example, was payday. A lot of people will do their bills throughout the month. Not me. I do it all at the start so that I know how much money I've got and this, that, and the other. So I've completely forgot what I was telling you that story for, but yeah, I'm very, very OCD. I do often times look at this house, Liam, to be honest, and I know it's a really awful thing to say. It's really, really awful, but I do sit there because I think most men will do this who have got wives and kids. And you do just sit there and sometimes go, do you know what? If this was just a bloke house, this would be absolutely bloody brilliant. I could just have a TV, my beer fridge could be there. I wouldn't have half the stuff in the house. I would have a football room. I'd have a wrestling room, and I'd just have a fully stocked kitchen with wine and basically bugger all else. So, yeah. But sadly, when you've got a 13-year-old child, it's not really the done thing to keep hundreds of bottles of wine lying around the property. Sadly, but yeah, there we go. I can attest to that. Yep, good man. Good man. Like I said, there's just there's no point, is there? There's absolutely no point in arguing with one's wife. It is a complete waste of time. Literally, I don't know how girls do this. I really don't. But like, there's been times where I've like, right, I'm gonna go and have an argument with the wife. Right, wife, I've got something to say, and literally 5 minutes later, I'll walk away going, why am I doing the washing up for? I can't even remember why I wanted to talk to you. And Mrs. is sat there going, yep, there you go. Off you go, husband, and do the washing. And you're just like, oh. But yeah, I am exaggerating slightly, but there we go. There we go. So yes, Monday Night Raw. Mm. Sorry, folks. Apologies again to people on podcast. I'm sure you all by now know by now when I go like radio silent, it's because I'm drinking water. Literally, I'm one of these. I just drink gallons of water a day. It's literally the only way I can actually survive anymore as a human being. So, yeah, Monday Night Raw. Like I was saying, thought first half was good. Like I said, I'm not gonna shit all over the crowd. It, it was just a bit weird. They tried to do a what chant. They booed Bailey, and I appreciate the fact that Roxanne Perez is from Laredo, Texas, and that's fine. But like these were like proper boos. And they booed Lyra Valkyria. I mean, like Lyra Valkyria and Bailey look like the two nicest human beings in the world. And you're like, why are you booing these women for? What have they done to you, kind of thing? Um, the Joe Hendry thing went down like a fart in church, basically. Obviously, he got a big pop when he first came out, and say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry, blah blah blah. But I don't know. It just seemed to die out a little bit. To be honest, I mean, I guess we are obviously because obviously everyone's super hyper about WrestleMania, right? Obviously, I know I was. I mean, I literally covered it for a week, and it was um, as a lot of you know who followed me, I came up with this brilliant idea of going, oh, I'll cover WrestleMania for a week because I usually do like San Diego Comic Con as well. So I'll like do a live stream and then I'll watch like IGN or something like that. And if there's any news on Marvel films or this, that, and the other, I'll be sat here excitedly going, oh, they've recast the new Iron Man, oh, this, that, and the other. So I thought I'd do the same with WrestleMania. I thought, well, all I've got to do is because I had the week off as well. And I thought, all I've got to do is sit on my arse and watch 30 hours of wrestling, a load of interviews. How difficult could that be? It was bloody difficult. Literally, when WrestleMania Night 2 finished, I don't think I actually wanted to watch wrestling ever again. I literally must have watched, because I watched the AEW shows, watched TNA, watched a few of the independent shows in and around WrestleMania. Um, I must have watched literally 40 hours of wrestling in a week, bearing in mind like there's only 7 hours. 7 hours in a day. God, I wish. 24 hours in a day. Literally, I must have been watching 5 or 6 hours of wrestling straight. So how people like Denise Salcedo, who actually literally go to WrestleMania, go from show to show to show, having just done what I did, and I was knackered sat on my couch. Um, they have my respect because I always thought to myself, doing stuff like this, yeah, it's easy. All you've got to do is put a camera in front of your head and waffle on about wrestling. Um, it's actually a lot more difficult than I gave it credit for, really. But yeah, in general, I suppose there is the post WrestleMania lull, because obviously you always get to the stage where Backlash is on, and then you're just like, am I really excited about some of these matches? Not really. I mean, because obviously there's usually a lull, and then you get to what Money in the Bank. Things start picking up a little bit. Then you get to SummerSlam. Bit of a lull after SummerSlam, and then you got to get towards Survivor Series, and then what it dies over the winter basically. But then you get to the first Raw of the year, and then you know you're on the road to WrestleMania kind of thing. So it's just peaks and troughs, to be completely honest. But yeah, there we go. I'm just trying to think. There was that weird segment with the bloodline at the start. So they keep booking Roman in these like cinematic Oscar worthy segment things. It was kind of like the thing that they did with Cody and Roman, back whatever it was, about a year and a half ago. You know, when they met in the middle of that football stadium, and that it was like some sort of bloody mafia scene in The Godfather. It was really really weird, but it kind of worked. To be fair. Yeah, it was just the thing about the cinematic thing. I thought it was good, but Jay and Jimmy were talking to Roman as basically as if there was no one there, essentially. So they were talking to him, like you need to avoid Jacob Fatu, blah blah blah, this that and the other. Roman was listed, but then all of a sudden they break the fourth wall and look at the camera, and I can't remember exactly what Roman said. I'm paraphrasing, but it did something on the lines of "We are the only family," or "We are the number one family," or something like that. I was like, dude, why have you done it as like a watch thing for the audience, but then turned to the audience and broke the whole. That I don't know. That was it. It's probably angry old man shouting at the clouds, but that took me out of it a little bit. It was kind of weird, but yeah, who knows? I don't know. That sounds laborious. Oh, Liam, mate, it really, really was. It really, really was. By the way, folks, this is the way my lizard brain works. If anyone knows the result of the football, I've just realised, because I've been watching Raw, I've missed the semi-finals tonight, haven't I? Bugger. Yeah, if anyone knows the result, do us a favour while I'm on, just because I can't get on my laptop at the minute, just put the result in for us, will you? Cheers, that'll be very helpful. Um, I'm going to go with Bayern 2, Paris Saint Germain 3. Like I said, I don't know who played what, but yeah, there we go. I'm probably completely wrong about that. So yeah, obviously we had the bloodline, and then we had probably shout out for the best segment was Rawlings versus Bron Breakker. That's kind of what got me annoyed with the crowd initially, because their segment was excellent, and I tell you what, Bron Breakker, who would have known? What a promo! He's a very very good. I mean, look, you can tell that they try and characterize him as like this football hooligan brute person. You can just tell looking at Bron that he's a proper clever fella, can't you? So, oh, oh mate, it was you joke 5-4. Oh, I'm absolutely gutted that. Do you know what? Actually, there's ways and means. Let me put Amazon Prime on. I'm not going to start watching the football, guys. By the way, while I'm talking to you, I might just put it on in the background. In fact, no. If it's been an exciting match like that, I'll want to see it. Do you know what? I think I'll re watch, if I can even say it, the match again. Um, Maybe tomorrow or something like that afterward. 5-4 though. Bloody hell. Crikey. That's the thing with PSG. Obviously, they are pretty much the best team in the world at the minute, but you can get at them, can't you? I mean, like the Villa did that to them the other year as well. Because I think I can't remember what the score was, but I think PSG beat Villa. What was it? 3 or 4-1 in the first leg, and then literally they were hanging on for dear life. Villa actually should have beaten PSG in that. I mean, they did obviously, but I think they went through on like aggregate goals or whatever. But yeah, yeah, you can get at them, can you? But you'd still put them as favourites. There's a lot of my lads around here, including the brother, shout out, bro, who are not that keen for Worth a Watch. Yep, I will definitely give that a go, Liam. Definitely give it a go. Um, there's lots of people in because I live in Yorkshire and Leeds, and there's lots of people. I don't know about other areas of the country. there are lots of people here who are not thrilled with the prospect of Declan Rice lifting the European Cup, is the politest thing I would say. And because a lot of them, well, everyone here is a Northerner pretty much. Um, yeah, the chances of anyone in Leeds supporting Arsenal, unless you're an Arsenal based, um, unless you're a Leeds based Arsenal fan, is very, very remote. In fact, I've already seen people walking around with Atletico Madrid shirts, and I'm just like, what is going on? But yeah, honestly, so many twists and turns. Yeah, it sounds like it, Liam. Sounds like it. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put the match in full on tomorrow. Grab a couple of beers, but I'll just watch the highlights tonight after I've finished doing this because yeah, that sounds bizarre, but good bizarre basically. But yeah, now what I was saying was Rawlins and Bron. I really like the segment, and this is kind of what got annoyed me with the crowd. It was like, guys, these two lads are serving up gold, and they just weren't really getting a reaction. I mean, Bron Breaker got some of the all that was me attempting to do the Bron Breaker bark, and it just sounded really weird actually. But yeah, they were both dropping bars on each other, and it was really, really cool. And the fact that Seth Rollins called him out for being Scott Steiner's uncle, not uncle, is it the nephew of Scott Steiner? I can't. I think he's Rick Steiner's kid, so presumably it's nephew. I don't know. It was good that he sort of dropped that on him because basically Bron was just like, "You are the best in the world at being number two," which cut Rawlins a little bit because Rawlins has always got that reputation, hasn't he? He's kind of in that Triple H spot from back in the day, whereby you had what Austin, Rock, Shawn Michaels, Taker, and Triple H was good. He was never at that level. Not as an athlete. Obviously, Triple H is one of the best wrestlers of all time. Fair play. Can't take that away from him. Fantastic career, but Triple H was never Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's a bit of a random example, but I mean Seth Rollins is never going to be Roman Reigns or CM Punk. Probably not even Cody Rhodes, and it's not his fault. He's just up against three of the best wrestlers of the last decade, 20 years nearly. So, I mean, can Seth Rollins break that ceiling? I don't know. But yeah, anyway, they've arranged a match for Backlash. Backlash looks quite good, actually. In fact, I'll read you the cards that we've got so far. So there's three matches being booked. There's Oscar versus Io Sky, which I'm looking forward to that, and that should have been at bloody WrestleMania. By the way, I'll get onto the Kairi Sane of it all in a minute because I do have some theories about that. There's Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker, and we are definitely getting Roman versus Jacob Fatu. So, actually, for the card after Mania, that looks pretty good so far. I don't know who else will be on it. I mean, you'd imagine Punk will be on it against someone. Although Punk was actually there last night, and I did wonder whether he'd be taking a break because obviously AJ Lee's just finished up her run as the IC champion. So I don't know, maybe they're just having a break or somewhere if they are, fair play. Whether we're going to get Cody versus Punk, I'm gonna guess not because I mean I know WWE made a bit of a mess of the WrestleMania booking. One would hope that they wouldn't just throw Punk and Cody Rhodes out there randomly next Monday Night at Raw because it would just be ridiculous. In my opinion, those matches should be for SummerSlam. So obviously, if they're going to do Gunther versus Brock, that is SummerSlam. If they're going to do Oba versus Roman Reigns, that's SummerSlam. And if you're going to do Cody versus CM Punk, that is SummerSlam. And if you're going to do, say, because Becky Lynch name checked Rhea Ripley last night, I'm just wondering if they were planting a little seed. I wouldn't be surprised if they did champion versus champion at SummerSlam because Becky Lynch versus Roman Reigns. God, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley is one of your not last big matches, but like I don't know if Rhea and they must have wrestled before, surely. I can't actually recall if they have or not, but that is one of their bits. So if you put them four matches on, I mean, SummerSlam tickets will sell just like that. So That's where I would put the matches basically. But whether Punk's going to wrestle anyone, I don't know. I would have thought they'll book Javon Evans, Rusev, Penta, and All Ego Ethan Page for a four-way for the IC. By the way, first, just give me one second. By the way, this is the most random thing I will say on this live stream tonight. Has anyone heard All Ego Ethan Page's music? Banger. Absolute bloody banger. I've actually added it to my favourites list because I don't know why, but because I don't really watch NXT that much. It's the first time I've heard um, Adam Ethan Page Ethan Page's music, and I was a massive fan of Ethan Page in AEW. I thought AEW used him absolutely atrociously. Plus, he's a good dude because he likes his comic books and toy collecting. He used to do toy hunt videos as well. I mean, obviously, he's not going to get a chance to do that as much now, but yeah, if you've not heard it, it's called, oh, that was it. Kill him with a smile or something like that. Do yourselves a favour and literally put that on you. I was going to say MP3 player. That God, I'm old, aren't I? Your iPod Shuffle. Do kids still have those? Pass. I don't know. Whatever you play music on, just put All Ego Ethan Page's theme because you will literally be bouncing to that the next day. Like I said, I must have played it about 5 times since I got home. So, like I said, delighted to see Ethan Page as well. But I'll go in order. Stephanie Vicaire got taken out by the Judgment Day. Yeah. And that was a bit weird actually, because that's when everyone started cheering Roxanne Perez. And I was like, why are they cheering Stephanie Vicaire being attacked for? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, right. Yeah, Laredo, Texas. And I suddenly realised where Roxanne was from. But yeah, like I said, that crowd was really, they were a bit weird last night, but still. I agree. I know it's as fashionable to dislike Triple H, but we have to bear in mind he was up against Austin, Rocky, and Undertaker. And I enjoyed all these matches, the Attitude Era, and even after. Well, yeah, Liam, I did because I didn't realise how good Triple H was at the time, which seems a bit weird, but like there was one bit where I despised Triple H, and I was just like, such an arse, and like, why is this moron on for? And he's really annoying. He's getting on my nerves. The fact he wins and this, that, and the other. And then it's only in late years I was like, he got me, didn't he? I mean, to be fair as well, obviously I'm going back in the day now, Liam, but like when they had the McMahon Helmsley era, like it wasn't so much Triple H winning. Obviously, it did piss me off when he beat Austin and people like that, but it was just the fact that the McMahon Helmsley era, so obviously that's Stephanie and Shane and Hunter, and I think DX were involved at one time as well. It was just the fact that none of them ever lost for literally months and months and months. I mean, I can't remember how long McMahon Helmsley era went on for. I think it was about a year or something ridiculous like that, and it was just, it was honestly, there was one point where it was soul destroying. Absolutely, so it was like a really shite version of the NWO, just constantly winning all the matches. And Triple H never lost, and that's when the whole thing started against Trip. When obviously, because he got together with Steph at that point, and obviously they've been married for like 30 odd years now. But at the time, I remember like when you used to have dirt sheets, as in like you like British wrestling magazines. Like I used to have Power Slam and stuff like that, and people would just write in basically saying, because obviously you could do it on internet now on your phone within 2 seconds, can't you? And just put your opinion out there. But like there were people just blatantly saying, well, the only reason he's getting this push is because he's married to Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. And to be fair to Hunter, I mean, he had a lot that he had to overcome. But I mean, I don't think it helped really when obviously you had the McMahon Helmsley era, and then Austin and Rock both left, and then they started Evolution. Now, the long term Evolution obviously worked brilliantly for WWE because they've got Dave Batista and Randy Orton now, who are two of the biggest stars ever. Obviously, they've got Ric Flair back over. Um, Made Triple H a bit stronger, so they developed two brand new stars who had matches with God knows who else after that. So it did work, but like at the time, I just remember going, Jesus Christ, we've literally just had McMahon and Helmsley not a year ago. Now we've got this, and it's just like, my goodness, honest to God. Yeah, it did become quite repetitive and ever so slightly annoying. But yeah, I will put it on my cassette player. Yeah, yes, good man. Good, quite, yes, quite Liam, yes. Yeah, oh God, the cassette player, my goodness. Like, my son, when I tell him, because me and his mom, like, we weren't together at the time, but like, we were mates back in the day. It was only um, like 15 years ago that we got together or something like that. But I've known my missus for about 20, 23 years now, give or take. But she used to come round. Funnily enough, I've had lads like say before, like, why were you just sitting with this really hot woman playing music and stuff? Because I'm not the cleverest person. I was like, I don't know, I was just having a good time. And the lads were just like, and I was just like, no, 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 no. I was like, no, no, that's gross. And I think I said it in front of her once. I was like, "Oh, no offense to you, no offense to you." Mrs. was just like, "Thanks, I'm looking forward to my date now on Friday. Cheers for that." But yeah, no, my son looks at me as if I've just fallen out of a dog's backside when I tell him that me and his mom used to literally have a tape recorder. You know the radios where you get the actual where you can put the tape in and stuff. That and obviously it had a record, and I was like, we used to just record onto tape. So we'd have like Annie Mac on back in the day. It was obviously she's the Irish DJ person. Shout out to Annie Mac. What those shows were absolutely awesome on Radio One back in the day, and we'd literally just have that, and we had everyone coming round. There'd be like beers and wine and this, that, and the other, and we'd literally just get up and press record on a tape. And my son just didn't get the concept because he was just like, "Why didn't you just put it on YouTube favorites?" And I was like, "Dude, there was no YouTube favorites." And honestly, he looks at me like, "Huh?" It's like, "Well, what did you do to listen to music?" It's like, cassette tapes, son, and records. I mean, this is how old I knew I was about 4 or 5 years ago. When he was like, obviously, 'cause he doesn't know. He was just like, "Daddy, yes, son. What's a record?" I'm like, you have seriously got to be kidding me. But yeah, there we go, there we go. But yes, cassette tapes, Liam, absolutely, mate. So my parents didn't have Sky in that specific time, so I was out of the loop for the Van Helsing. Well, Liam, all I'll say is, you probably didn't think it at the time, but thank you to your parents. Trust me, you didn't miss out on anything. But it was this ridiculous time as well when I think The Rock had just started making movies, so he wasn't there as much. Austin had this ridiculous injury, and he was out, and it was just there were good stuff as well. Because I mean, Triple H had a massive feud with Mick Foley when he came back as Cactus Jack. Um, and yeah, there was some good stuff at the time, but it was just like, I mean, obviously WWE had a massive, massive problem when because I think Austin and Rock both either left slash retired within what was it, 4 months of each other, 6 months of each other, and to lose the two, arguably the two most popular wrestlers of all time. I mean, obviously they had to go and reset everything, hence why they had to do the evolution thing. So obviously it's worked out over time, but yeah, it was pretty shit to be honest. Let's have a look. JR Garza. Oh, I like this one. TKO are letting go. Letting go of. Oh, letting go of. Yeah. To be honest, guys, I am not the biggest fan of that organisation. That was me being polite. My impolite opinion of TKO is that they're a bunch of self-serving, money-grabbing, greedy little bastards, basically, to put it quite bluntly. Some of these, like, case in point, I've literally bought my tickets today, like I mentioned at the start, for Liverpool. Liverpool Monday Night Raw, which is actually on Thursday. So Thursday Night Raw, I don't know. And the most cheap, it is most cheapest a grammatically good sentence. I don't know. sod it if it's not. The cheapest tickets that basically I could get, bearing in mind this is a house show, I'll be completely honest, I paid 70 quid. And I'll also be completely honest, I'm using the bank of my mommy. Because my mom is going to fund this as my birthday present. So, strictly speaking, when it comes to my birthday, technically I've got the tickets for free, kind of. But the point, which makes me sound, this makes me sound awful, but still, the point is, me and one of the lads went to, and I appreciate this is 2008, and despite what I keep thinking 2008 was about 3 years ago, and it's not. It was literally like millions of years ago now, like dinosaur age. But me and the lads went to go and see Monday Night Raw at not Wembley Stadium, not the London Arena. It was I think it was the O2. I forget, somewhere like the O2. And you're talking on the card, there was, I think, Ric Flair and Triple H, Randy Orton against William Regal, top draw matches like this. And there must have been 10 matches, and it was actually the Raw taping as well, right? We got our tickets, and I wouldn't say we were next to the ring, but we weren't, I don't know, we were about 15 rows back, something like that. So we could see the ring, basically, right next to us. And our tickets cost 45 quid in London in 2008. Um, Obviously, I know Liverpool's a major city and this, that, and the other, and it's captive audience because people will. The good thing is with Liverpool, people will want to make a weekend of it, so they'll want to go to Anfield. They'll want to go to the Palace of Willys. Sorry, the Hill Dickinson. Excuse me. Sorry, I will stop doing that joke at some point. But I'm sorry. It's just I know I'm going slightly off topic here, but I mean, who in their right mind recommended Everton Football Club calling that stadium the Hill Dickinson Stadium? Because you just know immediately when you announce it that there are going to be several thousand penis-based jokes. And there weren't even from Liverpool fans. These are like random fans of like Norwich or Chesterfield, literally piling on, taking the mick out of the stadium. So it's just like, Everton, just change the name for your stadium. Call it Goodison Park 2. Whatever you need to do. I don't know, but like anyway. The point is with Liverpool, obviously people want to make a weekend of it. They'll want to go to the Cavern Club, Beatles Museum, Baltic Triangle. Just night out in Liverpool is really good. It's boss night out, literally, as the Scouts would say. Art galleries, theatres, blah 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 blah. You name it, Liverpool's got it basically, and it's all very self-contained. Like you can literally walk from one half of Liverpool city centre to the docks in 10 minutes. Probably quicker than that if you've had a couple of ales down your neck. And yeah, people want to make a weekend of it and stuff, and that's why a lot of them will pay the money. But I mean, Jesus Christ, like I don't think I'm quite on the back row. I think I'm about 4 rows from the back, and it's like, yeah, but I was at a Raw taping like what was it, 18 years ago? However long that would be. Yeah, I think it was 18 years this year actually. So again, I appreciate it's a long time. But that was a Raw tape, and I got into it for 45 quid. I balked at that price back in the day. I was literally going mental with one of my mates, go, 45 quid, that's bloody outrageous. Bloody hell, if I could get a ticket now for any wrestling show, to be honest. I mean, I paid, obviously, AEW All In's a big, massive show. By the way, cheap plug, I'm going to see that as well at the end of the summer. It will be on Geek Boy Meta 7381, so stay tuned. Anyway, I mean, I've paid. That's Wembley Stadium. You know you're going to have to pay a bit more for Wembley, obviously, because it's in London. Um, cheapest ticket with a good view because I wanted a good view. Again, I'm going to say I'm about halfway up, something on the lines. I paid 90 quid for it, and I balked at that. Now there'll be people who are like my son's age who are used to like the prices of stuff now. Those people are like, well, Dad, that's how much these things cost. But obviously, I'm from the 80s. It's like these things did not cost these sort of absurd prices when I was a kid. And yeah, I mean, the 90 quid one, I got one of the better tickets. There is a ticket. If any of you guys want to check Ticketmaster, I'm not making this up. No word of a lie. This is true. Excuse me. The most expensive ticket for AEW All In, and I'm a massive fan of AEW, so I'm not shitting on them or anything like that. And I know they've got to make, obviously they've got to make the money back because it's a huge endeavour, bringing all the crew over, and hiring out Wembley Stadium and accessing it, and blah blah blah. It's going to cost AEW and Tony Khan lots of money. But let's have it right: the Khans are not poor. They are one of literally the richest families in the world. Um, they own an NFL franchise for God's sake, you know what I mean? So that they are not short of a bubble. So the most expensive ticket at ringside. So as in, I think the commentator's desk is where you've got, if it's AEW, you've got Nigel McGuinness and Shivani and people like that. So you're behind them, and obviously you can see all of the ring. £1,500. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was just like, look, if I can ever make a go of this, which I will be blunt, guys, I would like to do this for a living. This isn't actually the living at the minute, but I believe in being honest and open with people. And yeah, I would like to do this for a living. If that makes me a bad person, meh, don't care. But yes, that is the plan basically. But um, even if I was doing this for a living, and let's say for some reason I was on a Logan Paul Moralia sort of money and subscriptions, which I will never be, but still, it's a nice thing to dream about, or unspeakable. Um, Even if I was on that, I ain't paying anyone £1,500 to go and see a wrestling match. I said to my missus the other day, this is how working class. I had to do the math in my head, and I was just like, hang on, wait a minute, 1,500 quid. So I divided it up, and I was like, I was like, do you know what? At a push, that would feed you, me, and the lad for not far off 5 months. Maybe not 5 months because my son eats like a bloody horse. I mean, there's bugger all on him as well. That's another thing. Dad's out there. Um, have you ever noticed you've got a kid who's like literally that thin, and yet conversely they have this horrifying ability to literally eat everything in your house, and just to cap it off for fat people like me, like literally there's bugger all on him. You know what I mean? But like, the point is, maybe not 5 months, but we're a very tight Yorkshire family. Like, we don't spend money unless money needs to be spent. Um, I I'm taking a stab. It would feed us for at least 4 months. So who is paying 1,500? I mean, obviously you've got celebrities and like people. Look, if you're rich and you like earn your money, you want to do, you can do whatever you want to do with your money. At the end of the day, not a problem at all. Fair play to you if you are. If you want to go out and have a good time, spend that sort of money. Fair F's to you. But like, I don't even think if I was rich, I would even consider spending that amount. I mean, when I was going through on Ticketmaster, sorry guys, I will get back to Raw. I'm just having a bit of a rant about AEW now, but I stopped looking. You know when you've got the Ticketmaster app thing and you're scrolling down, if you like me, looking for the cheapest tickets, basically. Um, it stopped at like I think it was 85, and I was like, oh, right. But that was literally right at the back. Paid another fiver, and literally I'm about I don't know 25, 30 rows back or something like that. So I think it is a decent view. Um, but I just thought out of interest, let me just scroll up. I stopped scrolling after 500 quid. I was just like, I'm not paying 500 quid. But then I gave into curiosity. And I think it's an AW VIP package. I mean, it needs to have a gold bar in it. And I don't know, a bloody Jessica Alba bringing you a bloody pint of lager, ideally, for that sort of price. Um, and yeah, honestly, I could not believe my eyes. I could not believe my eyes. Let's say, and then I thought to myself, what happens if you've got a missus and two kids? and you don't want to add it up, but obviously you do self-consciously, and you're like, 6 grand for a 4-hour wrestling show. If you throw in accommodation and food, this, that, and the other, you're potentially talking. You're potentially talking. You're not far off 10 grand in the hole to go and watch AEW. No offense, I love AEW. Obviously, I do a live stream about it, and I go and see it every day. I ain't spending 10 grand on going to see AEW as much as I like Will Ospreay. You know what I mean? Honest to it's just it's insane how much people are spending on this stuff. It really is. But yeah, going back to the whole thing, Gaza. That's kind of the whole thing with TKO is what I mean. That some of the prices. I took my missus and my lad to go and see Raw in Leeds last year because the missus actually wanted to go and see it. I think she was hoping Roman Reigns was going to be there. Sadly, she was left disappointed. So I was like, "Well, you've still got me, my dear." I've got a picture of Roman Reigns next to my smiling face, and I think she just literally shrugs her shoulders and walks away. Like, thanks, love. Um, anyway, I think I can't quite remember, but I think tickets for me, the missus, and the lad. To be fair, we had a really good view. We were about because Leeds First Direct to Arena is a bit weird because we were halfway up, but the way it's angled, you're quite close to the ring, whatever happens. So I think we were about 15 rows back. And we had a brilliant view. It was absolutely fantastic. The whole thing though cost me 150 quid for free. But then again, I guess there's people now going, well, that's what these things cost. And I'm just like, yeah, they shouldn't be. This is why I got behind the Liverpool yellow card ticket protest the other day, just because a lot of these people now are taking the effing piss. And like our owners, FSG, sorry, I'm going on to Liverpool now, but what they have just done in putting the ticket prices up with no consultation from fan groups, no consultation with people like Spy and Cop or Cop Outs or Spirit of Shankly, which are the supporters groups, if you don't know. They literally said, "Yeah, 3-year price hike," and like obviously our supporters groups have said, "Well, what happens after 3 years?" And they basically said, "We're not sure yet." It's like, well, if you've just put the price up for 3 years, you're not going to decrease the prices, are you? It's going to get bloody worse. And I just think there's a lot of that going on in the world. But I'm not going to go on a whole thing about cost of living and stuff. But like, you are just like, guys, seriously, what world are some of you living in? Like, look, we are by no means poor, my family, but like, let me be blunt. We're about as far from rich as you can possibly get. I mean, obviously, I'm grateful every single day because there's people out there in a way worse situation than I am. My heart goes out to them. You know what I mean? Genuinely, it does. But we are. I, I mean, comfortable stretching it as well. I mean, we can get by, which is the main thing. You know what I mean? We can get by. We live month to month, and we always just about make it to the end of the month, and then we get a load of money, and it disappears within like 10 days, like most British people, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, dude, some of these tickets are just. I mean, they are literally taking the piss, absolutely taking the piss. So yeah. So Gaza, if you still on, mate, that was a very long-winded way of saying that I thoroughly agree with you. They are piss takers. Let's have a look. I saw a video Maven made about WrestleMania when he was asking people how much they paid, and the average was about $1,000. Yeah, yeah. I keep meaning to listen to Maven's podcast, Liam. He because he's done one with he had his own podcast, but then he's on. I think he does one with another. Is it I want to say it's Jonathan Coachman, but it's not Coach, is it? Coach does one with um. Oh, it's not Stevie Richards. It could be Stevie Richards. Actually, I forget, but Jonathan Coachman does one with another. Well, I mean, bloody every wrestler and his bloody wife's got a bloody podcast these days. By the way, like when he retires, CM Punk podcast. How good would that be? Anyway, yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me at all. Then does not surprise me at all. I mean, especially in America. 'Cause, I mean, we think it's bad over here. Some of the bloody prices they pay over there. One thing that I must go back to of AEW, though, You'll be pleased to know I finished all my water, guys. So there'll be no more water breaks now. When I was there, just very very quick story. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm like I will get back to Raw. Promise. There probably won't be too much more of it though, because the rest of it after that point was not very good. Yeah, when I went to AEW, the first time at Wembley Stadium, I'm wandering around Wembley like you do, literally, just taking in the atmosphere because obviously it was a big thing back in the day because it was like however many people were actually there. I know there's people still arguing about it to this day. It looked like there was roughly 80,000 people. I'd maybe say it was more like 70, something on those lines, but it was jam packed basically. There were a few sections with a few seats here and there, but like for a wrestling show that wasn't WWE, look, 70,000, 68,000, whatever it was, a hell of an effort. I mean, even the year afterwards when there was a drop off, I think it was 53,000. I mean, do you know what I mean? Fair play to AEW. But um, when I was walking around, I'm looking at the merch stand, and it kind of goes back to that thing I've just said about people taking the piss with money. Um, like some of the shirts. I mean, obviously when we were kids, some of us when we were kids. Do you remember when I don't know, your mum and dad would say, "Here you go, son. There's a tenner or something like that," and you'd come back with an actual shirt or a cap or something like that. I don't think a tenner would get me half a glass of bloody lager at the minute. It's absolutely outrageous. Anyway, um, I decided not to get anything. In fact, I don't think I've actually bought anything. I brought my AEW hat. Um, that was the cheapest thing I could get, by the way. 35 quid. That was the cheapest thing they had, but I wanted it like a souvenir. And to be fair, I wear that hat quite a bit, like now as well. So yeah, it's fine. Um, I'm waiting to pay for my hat, and this fella walks past me, and he's got his two kids, and they've both got AW belts on, like like kid replicas. And I was like, oh, that's cool, very nice. But then I suddenly realised they weren't wearing them; they were going to pay for them. I was like, right, where have they got this from? I saw there was this fella around the corner, so like I think they had like this box where they've got to give you the titles because obviously you can't be leaving them out because folk can nick them and this, that, and the other. So this fella takes his two kids over, pulls out his credit card, and no word of a lie, it was like he was buying a milkshake or a cup of coffee from Marks and Sparks or something like that. And the woman looked at him and said, "That'll be £1,500, please." And you know, one of these when you're in a queue and you don't want to make eye contact and you do that thing. If there's something dodgy in front of you and you do that, I did a and I was like, no, I must have misheard that. Surely she must have said 150. And I happened to see because it could, the till gives you the amount of money. Sort of take a sneaky look. £1,500. Both of these kids' belts, which weren't far off adult size, but regardless, this is an AEW belt. This is not a, Roman Reigns acknowledge me bloody Universal Championship. This is the AEW belt, which, bear in mind, AEW had only been formed at that point for 3.5 years, something about that, 3.5, 4 years, something along them lines. Um, each belt was worth 750 quid. Now, I'm quite lucky with my son. Like, obviously, like most fathers and mothers, you take a bit of a hit on the credit card occasionally, don't you? It's like, Dad, please can I have this? And then it, it's usually the mom's like, oh, go on, he looks so cute. Yeah, let's buy him something. The dad's like me in the background, I go like this. But even dads, there are sometimes when you're in a toy shop and you're like, if I can get him to let me watch the football afterwards, it's worth a fiver, and you just give in and give him a toy. Um, if my son said, "Dad, can I have that AEW title, please?" I literally I would do a Nelson Muntz and just say, "No, no, you cannot have like the rough equivalent of 4 months' food, son, on a pretend bloody title bet." Seriously, like I said, I couldn't believe my eyes. where are people? I don't know, first. We're meant to be in a cost of living crisis. Where are people getting this money from? And even if they are getting it and it's plentiful to them, why are they spending nearly £2,000 on two kids' title? But anyway, I'll stop ranting now. But yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, Liv. Hey, Jay Celtic, how you doing, mate? You're all right. I'll get to you in a second. I have nothing against tourist fans, but if clubs are betting on 6,000, 7,000 fans turning up to Anfield and Trafford, um, week in, week out, it seems short sighted to me to price local. Well, yeah, Liam, that's the uh, like I said, I don't want to go to Liverpool if I can help it, but yeah, that's where the yellow card protest against John Henry comes from, because obviously John Henry's the principal owner of Liverpool, Fenway Sports Group, blah blah blah. Most people know this, and it's when fans have sort of questioned Liverpool fans saying, "What are you moaning about? It's only an extra fiver a year, however much the increase is." And it's like, yeah, but you do know it's going to increase after that, so it can be a fiver now. All it needs is for the next time a load of fans to say, "Oh, they're charging an extra 20 quid. Ah, it's only 20 quid." Get another 10 years, 20 quid turns into 50. 50 eventually, somewhere down the line, is going to turn into hundreds. That's the whole point. And Liverpool, as in the club, have basically said it's to rise with inflation. So Spirit of Shankly, who are like one of our main supporters group, in fact, their main supporters body, I think, they did a study where they said, well, that can't be true because you used to be able to get onto the cop for, I think it was, I forget his name, I forgot his name. He's a really good lad though from Spirit of Shankly. Gareth Roberts, who also does the Late Challenge podcast, which is very very good. They did some working out either way, and I think if you could believe this, the average price of a ticket on the cop in 1993 or 94, they'd done like 30 years research anyway, was £17. It's like, can you imagine that? Can you, with how, with wages strictly speaking going up, apparently. Can you imagine if you had your wages now, but you could still go to what, I don't know, Liverpool, Celtic, there you go, Joe. Liverpool, Celtic, Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, whoever. And if it was 17 quid, you'd just be like, bloody brilliant. I'll go 10 times a year, you know what I mean? But they did this research basically said, I don't know the exact figure, but they said it can't be too much inflation because if it matched inflation based on 30 years or whatever it would be, I think it worked out roughly to about 40, 45 quid. Something along those lines, I'm not totally sure. Liverpool tickets for Premier League matches, as I'm sure you can imagine, cost significantly more than that unless you're a season ticket holder. And they were just like, well, that's not remotely true. You are literally just making this up. And the thing that annoys me the most, Liam, is they've caused all this nonsense, and obviously it doesn't paint the club in a really good light. The total revenue FSG are going to get back for this is 1.2 million pounds. Granted, to simple working class people like me, £1.2 million will always be a lot of money. I would love £1.2 million to just rain from the sky now, which it won't, sadly. But in the context of Liverpool Football Club, and it's still ridiculous to me that you actually have to say this nowadays because it's still a shit pile of money. What is £1.2 million to Liverpool? What is that to any big six team? What is that realistically to any Premier League team? Unless you're one of the lower down. But even if you get relegated from the Premier League, you're good. This is why you constantly getting your Burnleys, your Leeds, your I don't know when they were still called West Brom, blah 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 blah. that's why you're getting these people who just keep going straight back up because they get the parachute payments. So you're getting to the point where they're going to have to do. Look, I fully believe there will be Premier League One and Premier League Two at some point. It's inevitable. It will happen because you are going to start getting a group of what maybe 30, 40 odd clubs saying, well, hang on, wait a minute, we've got thousands of fans, we've got this stadium, and so on and so forth. We want a bigger piece of the pie. And then someone's going to say, do you know what? Premier League Two sounds like a good idea. Boom, there we go. And then you've basically got like a monopoly for half the teams. Um, And yeah, I don't know. I go round circles, but this whole shit of taking the mick out of fans, it's not right, and it ain't on, as far as I'm concerned, at all. I think it's an absolute disgrace. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox and go back into the comments. Let me have a look. Hey, Jay Celtic, how you doing? All right, mate. How's it going? Stand up and sing for Motherwell. Yeah, I thought you'd be happy about that, Jay. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, dude. Like, oh, did you enjoy Michael? By the way, I went to go and see Michael. Just as, funnily enough, Rangers had just kicked off, and I'm sat in there, and my mum's like sat there. Turn your bloody phone off, son. But just as I turned it off, Motherwell had just scored, and I was like, oh. And I thought, nah, range will be all right. They've only got like, so I think, did Motherwell score after about 15 minutes or something like that? And I thought, well, they've got 80 odd minutes. I'm sure I'll turn it back on. They'll be fine. And I looked at the result, and I was like, what the hell has happened there? And then I heard about the Hibs Hearts match. I was like, bloody hell, was it like the Battle of Scotland in that match? Literally, I put on some of the highlights. Some of those tackles, I was like, is this a UFC match in Scotland or something? What the hell's going on? There's people fly kicking each other and bloody putting each other in rear naked bloody chokeholds. Sorry, for context, if there's any Hibs Hearts fans listening, it wasn't that bad. I am over exaggerating slightly, but it wasn't the most friendly football match I've ever seen. It does make me want to go and watch an Edinburgh Derby though, because it does look a bit tasty actually. Um, Liam Jones, that's outrageous. Oh yeah, about the belts, Liam. Yeah, well, yeah, it's taking the piss, Liam. It's absolutely outrageous. Like I said, the thing that got me was you'd think the dad would be like, could you imagine, even if you had the money, there's a bloke with your credit card getting your card and literally 1,500 quid. I'd be sat there literally sobbing as my hand went towards the bloody reader. You know what I mean? But um, it, the way he put his card down, and I'm really sorry, fella, if for some reason you're watching this, which would be a bit random. Obviously, it's your money. Again, people can do what the hell they want with their own money. It's nothing to do with me whatsoever. But like, he literally swiped it as if he was buying a cup of coffee at Costa, and I'm just like, literally. So for context, Liam, the first year I went to AEW, I can tell you exactly how much I spent. 20 quid on a National Express coach that took 4 hours there, for what, 4.5 hours there from Leeds and 4.5 hours back from Leeds. Because, again, I'm from Yorkshire. I ain't paying anyone 150 quid to go to London. And then people are like, oh, you can get a discounted price of 80 quid. And I'm like, no, not a chance. Here's 20, get me on my coach. Um, so, yeah, 25 quid on the coach. In fact, I was being very Yorkshire Liam that day. I actually made. I actually did old school and made bacon sandwiches. So literally, I took them on the bus with me, and I made literally like 4 lots, and these are massive bacon and sausage sandwiches with like bloody fried egg in them and brown sauce and this, that, and the other. By the time I got to the arena, I was like, I don't want anything else to eat. Literally, so I filled myself up on that, like as much as possible. I drank literally about 40 pints of water before I went into the stadium to the point where I was just like, I don't want anything to drink. Um, I think I had one beer and one of those little wine stubby things. Because funnily enough, actually, at Wembley, I thought to myself, well, I'm not getting wine because it'll cost like a bloody arm of lead. But funnily enough, they were selling them, them little stubby bottles. For some reason on that night, they were selling them for like £6.50. And I was like, I mean, obviously, it's still taking the piss a little bit because they're only like these little things. And I was just like, but they actually gave it with the caps. And I'm like, What, sod it, I'll buy a couple of them. That'll do me. So, yeah, probably spent 25 quid on booze while I was there. Hotel was paid for months ago. Got a KFC on the way home, which, being a bloke, lads, how good is this? It will always be the best thing when your missus not isn't there to supervise you. Getting on your hotel bed with a bucket of KFC, and you've been watching wrestling for 4 hours, and I literally turned on the TV and Match of the Day 2 had just started, and I'd got a pre-bought bottle of wine next to me. You know when you go to the premiere and you've got those bits at the side. I've literally got a bottle of wine, and I'm lit. I think I actually said out loud, "This is how blokes were meant to live. This is bloody brilliant." Yes, my missus was not hugely impressed when I told her that story, but why on earth was I telling you that for? Sorry, I'm in a bit of a forgetful one today, folks. Why was I telling you that for? I have completely and utterly forgotten. Oh yeah, no, the price thing. So yeah, so KFC bucket, and again, I was very Yorkshire, and guys, I know you won't want to hear this. I left half of the KFC, and there was no fridge, and yes, I did eat it for my breakfast the next day. Again, there will be blokes out there who will be nodding and going, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so, so I mean, you're up to what? I've probably spent 60, 70 quid, something on them lines. I think I brought because I was also getting water from the tap in the Premier Inn as well. So I filled up these two massive bottles of water that I nicked from my house, basically. So I'd filled them up to like walk around London and stuff. Bought a bit of dinner. Get nothing fancy like a Mackey's, maybe 10 or 15 quid, something on those lines. Couple of pints. You're talking, my ticket probably came to 40, 50 quid. And I reckon I did the entire 2 days, including the ticket, for about 130 quid. Now, bearing in mind that's 2 days in London and you've been to a stadium show, I don't think that's horrendously bad. Um, but like I said, like £1,500. Mental. Absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Oh, greetings from South Africa. Let's have a look. Demented Observer. How you doing, Demented Observer? Hello to South Africa. Oh, speaking of South Africa, I'm sure you'll recognise that, Demented Observer. Yes, a little bit further up than you guys are. Not as in good, by the way. I mean further up location-wise. Sorry, I hope you don't. I don't mean it like that, obviously. Yeah, shout out to Ghana. Oh, by the way, as well, cheap plug, guys. On June the 2nd, I am going to see my country play football. Not the England match, by the way. Bloody, I'm not that stupid. Jesus Christ. By the way, I'm assuming Jay Celtic, if you're still on, that you in Scotland will all be buying Ghanaian football shirts for that day. If so, thank you very much. Come on, Ghana. Um, but no, I'm not going to go and see that. Ghana are actually playing in Wales in Cardiff. I'm not sure if it's the Millennium Stadium. I don't know. I think it's the Cardiff City Stadium. The Cardiff City Stadium, I think. Yeah, I'm fairly sure it is. Me and the bro, shout out to the bro, are currently trying to source tickets. Days off have been booked and so on and so forth. Only we still haven't heard how one can get tickets. So that's actually on June the 2nd. So literally from May the 16th, which is my birthday, I'm going to Liverpool May the 16th, staying over in Liverpool May the 17th, staying over in Manchester May the 18th. Then I have to go back to the horrible place that starts with W and ends in Erg. Yes, that place that we all have to go to. Then on the 28th, so you're talking 10 days later, I'm then back in Liverpool. 2 days, get back to Leeds 29th or something along them lines. 29th, 30th, 31st, I'm going to York for the Pride Festival, and I'm also doing something else on the 31st, which is something to do with wrestling. I can't remember. There's something else that I'm doing as well. and then I'm back at work one day, and then I'm literally back out on the road with the bro to go to Wales for 3 days so that we can watch Ghana. Ghana against Cardiff. God, that would be fun. Ghana against Wales. So no goals from Harry Wilson, please, Harry. Thank you. But yeah, looking forward to that. I haven't been to Wales literally for about 15 years, and it was decent last time I went. I went out with the lads there many, many years ago, about 20 odd years ago, 15 years ago, and had like a boatload of drinks. Um, I think I told this the other day, but we all got chased by by this very angry Welsh fella, and because obviously I'm the only in the lads group. I think I'm pretty much the only black fella, um, and I always think it's like, oh, they're chasing because of me. Oh, and one of my mates who was Welsh, he was just like, mate, he's not chasing you because you're black. He's chasing all of us because we're English. And I was like, you are? And this fella was literally like, I can't speak Welsh, I won't do the accent, but I, I'm paraphrasing, but he very impolitely asked us to leave his effing country and effing go home. I was like, oh, it's because I'm English. Oh, that's fine, not a problem. But yeah, no. Apart from when the knife came out, that wasn't particularly cool, actually. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So yeah, yeah. There we go. Liam Jones. It's blatant. Try again. It's blatant price gouging. I agree, Liam. It's absolutely outrageous. 1.2 million is almost nothing to cut. Thank you. We had it with Ineos, sacking dinner ladies. Yeah, well, yeah, obviously, yeah, Liam. Obviously, you've been through this as a United fan. I mean, obviously, I have no grateful love for Man United. I'm sure you don't do for Liverpool, but my heart went out to those people. Literally, you literally got Man United who have spent. I think I was reading. You'll know better than me, Liam, but like, I think I read something random like Man United's last three sackings have come to something ridiculous, like about 40 million quid. And again, that's one of those things that annoys me. If I get sacked for being shit at my job, that's me done. Like, if you get sacked for being a manager for losing 20 games, you could walk away with 20 million quid and buy yourself a small island. You're like, in what sort of way, in what sort of universe is that actually fair? So it's just absolutely ridiculous. Um, but yes, they've got money to sack people and spend on. I mean, to be fair to United, the transfers have actually worked this. I mean, Sesko does look very, very good. I have to say, I'm very impressed with him. Obviously, I knew Mbeumo would be decent, and obviously Cunha is class. As much as I don't particularly like Man United, he is class, class, class. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is very good. It's a shame Casemiro's going. Actually, well, not for me, but it's a shame Casemiro's going because he's been one of the best players in the league this season. Um, but yeah, obviously Man United have brought well this summer, but it's like so you can afford to spend what was it? I think all them three strikes cost what 150 million quid. You can afford 150 million quid, but you've got to sack a little old tea lady. And I think there was a little old tea lady as well. I think it's absolutely bloody disgraceful. And you can also afford to um knock up what 3 million worth of plans for this new stadium in Manchester. So I read something about that as well, and I thought, well, that can't be right, surely. But I'm sure I read something on the lines of the cost of Man United actually not building the stadium, was in generating the plans cost like £1 million, and I'm like, that bloody hell, I could have done that for you on bloody internet myself, and I know bugger all about technology. I was like, well, that can't be right, surely. But yeah, I was speaking to one of the lads who's funnily enough, he's a Man United fan. He didn't know thing. He was like, yeah, apparently it was half a million quid. It's like to draw up plans. What? I don't know, but yeah, no, Liam, I completely agree. And stopping 40k a year on ex players' charity, yeah, now that's outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous. Like you don't stop. I mean, charities. I mean, that's just like I said. Never mind if it's Man United or not. That's just piss poor. It's totally piss poor. Um, Obviously, I think Liverpool do a fair bit now for like the older Liverpool players who suffer from dementia and stuff because a lot of them, well, for obvious reasons, can't remember what they've done, and a lot of them didn't actually have medals back in the day. And I think it was Red Ben TV, actually. I think it was Dan Clubb. I think he was involved in it, and he did some sort of campaign, or at least helped when to get medals to a lot of the older pros and stuff, which I thought was class. But yeah, I mean, it's me being very working class again, because like I said, a lot of the fight, the power has left me, but there's still a bit of a rebel inside there, and the way that some of these people are treated like shit, and like it's the supporters, Liam, as well. Sorry, I'll stop ranting in a minute. It's the supporters more than anything in the local area, and I've always said this, and it's not just me trying to like make myself look, oh, wasn't that wonderful, blah blah blah. And I genuinely do mean this. If there's a choice between me getting a season ticket and a Scouse kid who lives, let's say, Scouse little girl lives 2 minutes from the stadium, I'd rather that ticket went to the little Scouse girl as opposed to myself. I mean, I'd be a bit gutted, but you know what I mean. The point is, like, when I go to Liverpool, Liam, and I'm sure Jay would say the same thing as well. Case in point, if I went to go and see Celtic, I expect to hear Glaswegian fans. I expect to hear Celtic fans singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be tourists and foreigners. Look, I am a tourist every time I go to Liverpool. So, but I don't go every single time. And when I do go, I literally sing my heart out, call the referee a knobhead, and literally roar on the team and say, "Put the ball in the box" at the top of my voice. Literally, I was in which part was I? Not the Kenny. So I'm opposite. I was near where the Kremlin was back in the day, sort of on the right hand side of the cop, and it's where a lot of the executive box. Now, the only reason I was there was because the tickets for Lord Barnsley came out, and you might laugh, but they were about 85 quid. So I had a lot of the lads going, "Are you seriously paying 85 quid to go and see Barnsley round bloody corner?" And I was like, "Lads, it's the only time I can ever get tickets." So anyway, I went to go and see Liverpool versus Barnsley. What I didn't realise was, because obviously you do hospitality, and I went in there and there's fancy people wearing suits, this, that, and the other, and I just couldn't dress like this, basically with a Liverpool top over the thing. And literally, the match starts, and I'm like, "Come on, get into them," and this, that, and the other. And I could see people turning around, going, I was like, "You're right there, fella." Um, but yeah, but sorry, but when I go and see a football match, I couldn't care less if I'm the only person in the bloody row shouting, "I'm going to get behind the team." You know what I mean? And there's people literally. I'm sat there. Yorkshire voice comes out like we're pissed about with the ball, and I'm like, "Let's put it in. Keep mixer for." There's literally people like trying to move away from it. It was good though, because I was next to this old Irish fella, and he was exactly the same as well. Each time that Liverpool were just messing about with the ball outside the penalty area, he was up in arms as well, and he couldn't stand, because I think he had a walker or something like that. And his son was having to help, and he's literally shaking his fist and this, that, and the other. I remember when Sobbo. I don't know if anyone ever saw this. If you want to laugh, just type in Dominic Soboslai mistake against Barnsley. Basically, he takes the ball, and then he tries to do this elaborate step over. But what he actually did was backheel the ball to the oncoming Barnsley striker, who booted it in the back of the net. And so this Irish fella sat next to me, and like, I've kind of seen it, but it's, one knows when you've seen something, you're like, well, I mean, that can't have happened, surely. And then, sure enough, it says 2-1 to Liverpool. And this Irish fella, literally, I'm sorry for blaspheming, I do apologise, literally stands up to go for his half time part and goes, "Jesus, Mary and fucking Joseph." Sorry, that was my really bad Irish accent. So me and this Irish fellow were the only ones. Not the whole crowd, obviously, but we were the only ones in that little section, about 300-400 people, who were like making any noise, which is kind of a roundabout point about all this, because if that's born and bred Scousers, you are going to get that noise. And if you look, I consider it a privilege to go and see Liverpool, and I'm very lucky that I get to see them 3 or 4 times a year. Usually one of them's a Legends match, but look, I'm still grateful to do that. At least I can afford to do that. I can usually see them in pre-season once or twice. if we get decent cup draws, like fortunately we did this year, I can go a couple of times. Like I said, I went to see the Barnsley match. They haven't announced pre-season, but I'm going to do exactly what I did against this season because I got to see two matches actually. Athletic Bilbao. It was just after Diogo died, and like literally it cost me 30 quid, but I got to see two football matches. I was like, well, you can't say any fairer than that, can you? So look, at the end of the day, I still consider myself lucky, whatever form of match it is, if it's the women's team, if it's the legends, if it's the under 21s, if it's the I don't know, bloody under 18s, or look, at least I am seeing some form of Liverpool Football Club, and I'm grateful for that, you know what I mean? But like I don't want to see it with a load of tourists. I want to, and you need the tourists. With every club needs them. Every club. I mean, Celtic, for example, wouldn't be what Celtic are without some tourism. You know what I mean? There's going to be thousands of people that want to go to Celtic Park, which is absolutely fine. It's not a problem. So I want to go and see Liverpool, but I don't want a stadium full of me's who are just going to sit there like they're at the sodding opera. So yeah. Anyway, right, I'm going to stop ranting first because I've just realised I haven't actually finished Raw yet, guys. Very, very quickly, I'm going to get through the comments. I'm just going to read for those who have been very, very patient with me for Raw. Let me just go through bits and pieces quickly. So, where did I get to? So yeah, talked about Ethan Page. Like I said, guys, if you haven't heard Ethan Page's song, it is the best song ever that's ever been made. I don't care if it's the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson, Madonna, um, whoever. Ethan Page's theme music is the best song in the world now. That is a closed book, and the challenge is over. The end. Please listen to it. So we had. This is why I need my laptop because I can't even read my own writing. El Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio was announced. Nah, I mean, if you're wondering what I'm doing, guys, by the way, that's my. These are my notes. Check this out. Like, if you want to laugh, that's my actual writing. But this is pretty cool, though. Check that out. That is a VHS book of Friday the 13th. Cheap plug as well. I've also got Geek Boy Does Horror. If you're a horror movie fan, if you want to check out any stuff, right, I'll stop like telling myself now. Anyway, so yeah, they announced El Grande Americana versus Rey Mysterio. Look, guys, I've got to be honest. I know they're doing this mask versus mask thing with El Grande and OG El Grande Americana. So it looks like it's coming to an end, and might I say, thank God for that. It has outlived its welcome with me, and I've had enough of it, basically. Becky Lynch coming out doing that little promo when she said the man has come around, and I love the little nod and wink where she said, "And we are now in Manosphere," and it was only a tiny little smirk, but just the way she's obviously she's British, like Irish, but like more or less British. You know what I mean? It was just one of those classic sort of British Irish things where only us know what she was on about. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, they booked a match with her and Io Sky, and can I say, match the night without question. Absolutely brilliant from start to finish. I was very annoyed that Oscar came in and ruined the whole thing. I would have just liked to have seen Bex gone over. But yeah, no, I would very, very much like to see Io Sky versus Becky Lynch again. It, I was really pleased I saw it, but again, you kind of like, to me, Becky Lynch and Io Sky. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as headlining SummerSlam, but it's like a top 3 or 4 match at SummerSlam for me. And you just like, why are they giving away Becky Lynch versus Io Sky? It just seems a bit weird. But don't get me wrong, I'm very glad to see it. I'd thoroughly recommend that. By the way, it was absolutely fantastic. Credit both women. Also, credit to the crowd at that point after I've taken the piss out of them, because that's when the Kyrie Sane chant started. Now, just put my book down. I have a theory about this. I think it is a Ron Killings R Truth situation. Now, if you wonder what the hell it is I'm talking about, basically last year, Ron Killings, i.e., R Truth, was supposedly fired from WWE, and it turned out to be it, depending on who you listen to, either a worked shoot or a work or an angle that only Truth and Triple H and a couple of other people were involved in, basically. So, um, yeah, um, so they kind of brought him back, and like Ron Killings was really hot at one point. He was probably like the hottest act in America, and then all of a sudden they just dropped it completely. And now he's with Damian Priest, pissing about with the tag team titles. And this is what annoys me about WWE. Sometimes you are just like, you have literally just got lightning in the bottle and you pissed it all out on the beach. You know what I mean? It's just so. Some of the writing for WWE, like I says, but it's been nothing short of appalling most of the last year. So the whole point I've told the story is, I have a feeling that's going to be Kyrie Sane, because there was a couple of times last night, when WWE, like, when they fire someone, you don't hear of them again until they come back, kind of thing. They keep it very closed doors. But there was a couple of times last night, Graves mentioned it, but he didn't mention Kyrie by name. But I think he said Senpai, which is like the trainer of the younger person in Japanese wrestling, I believe. Um, I think he said the last senpai she has won't be coming back for a very long time. It's like, I know you've not said Kyrie, but we all know you're talking about Kyrie. And then they did an Oscar package later when Oscar confirmed it was going to be her versus Io at Backlash, and there was at least three scenes where you could see Kyrie Sane, as in blatantly see it. And back in the day, they would literally just cut the camera in half, and they would not show whoever had left, kind of thing. Because WWE, if you think they're petty now, they were more petty back then. I don't think she's been fired. I'm gonna throw it out there. I think it's work. Now, my last few times of saying something is a work, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but I have been spectacularly wrong. So, because I thought the AJ Styles thing was a work as well, and unfortunately, very, very sadly, it did not prove to be the case. But yes, there we go. That's my thoughts on that. What else did we have? Obafemi versus Grayson Waller. Moving straight on, we now have something that could be potentially very crappy called the Oba Challenge. Each week, someone on Raw is going to come out and challenge Obafemi. I'm assuming this will keep going until we get to, I don't know, Gunther or someone who's actually decent. It smacks very much of like a reverse Goldberg 146-0. And obviously, I'm sure it won't go to that number because there's only about 52 Raws a year, basically. But if he starts doing it on SmackDown, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're going to try and do something ridiculous like Obafemi's won like 300 matches in 4 weeks or something daft like that. There was the whole thing with Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. Again, the crowd didn't seem that into Balor. I'm getting a bit worried about that. I think he may be in the Judgment Day for too long. But I hope he can get back to where he was as Finn Balor from 10 years ago, because Kid was on fire and unfortunately he got that injury against Seth at SummerSlam. I think the title had to go back to Roman potentially. I forget now, but I hope Finn can get back because honestly he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet, but he just doesn't seem to be getting reactions, and I don't know why. Maybe he's just been healed for too long. People don't take him seriously. I don't know, but like, hopefully they can rehabilitate him and get him back to towards the top of the card. We had Lyra and Bailey versus the Judgment Day. It was fine. It was absolutely fine. Like I said, we've got Oscar versus Io Sky, Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker, and Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Speaking of, I can put this crappy diary away now. Speaking of Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns, they ended Monday Night Raw basically. It, I'm not going to say it was a bit shit. it wasn't like rubbish or anything like that. It was just very it was just very forgettable. Like Roman comes along and does his usual. It's not me shitting on Roman Reigns. Obviously, he's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, and he's been magnificent the last 4 years. Fair play to the bloke. It's not totally my cup of tea at all. But I have a lot of respect for Roman Reigns. Well, apart from his choice in president. Anyway, let's move swiftly on from that. But I respect the bloke. You know, what I mean, you've got to give him respect because Roman was a bit of a joke about 5, 6 years ago. People did not want anything to do with Roman, and he's totally transformed. And fair play to the bloke. But the thing with Roman is, it's very. I know I'm biased because I'm a CM Punk fan, but with Punk, you don't always know what he's going to say. It's not the same thing each time. He mixes it up, and there's some variety to it. Same thing with. I know people are hating on Cody, but Cody can go from 1 to 15 just like that. And yeah, someone like Drew McIntyre. Drew is like a natural on the mic. I think he's absolutely. But I'm not saying Roman isn't. He comes across a lot more scripted, very unfair. Look, I'm sure that Roman can take that. He's a fantastic promo. Don't get me wrong, Roman, but it's very. I find it to be very samey sometimes. Um, and he cut this promo last night, and it was all right. Jacob Fatu basically comes out, and I didn't really understand that because it's just like I've given you a week to think about it. And Jacob Fatu literally said what we were all saying. Yeah, I only needed an hour to think about Roman. I want to fight you. The end. So it's like, well, why the hell did we just wait a week for? You should have just built it from last week. And then Roman just went on this bit of a rant about Jacob, like, and then Jacob basically, well, I mean, had he put a sock on his hand, it would have been Mr. Socko. I'm not entirely sure what that move was, but basically he tried to choke Roman, and Roman's uh, I hope his acting is slightly better in Street Fighter than it was. Just don't get me wrong, Roman's he's an excellent seller, but last night, not sure about that. There was a bit, it was slightly Hollyoaks-ish, without wishing to be rude. So yeah, that was Monday Night Raw, folks. So thank you for sticking with me for 102 minutes. And I finally got to it. I always like to do a grade at the end. I'm gonna give Monday Night Raw. I might have to give it a C plus, maybe a C plus. Straddling C plus to B minus. I think I might drag it into C plus because of the fans in the stadium. Like I say, it wasn't all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but it just the reactions in there were just, I don't know, it just seemed dead. The crowd, so I think that's probably what did it for me. Just for the fact that the show was really good in the first half and it just trailed off really badly towards the end, in my opinion. Match of the night, absolutely Becky Lynch versus Io Sky. That is going in my match of the year folder, so I'm going to write that down. Should my laptop ever work again? Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Literally 8 or 9 out of 10. So fair play to Becky Lynch and Io Sky, who win match of the night. There we go. Right, guys, I'm going to read the rest of the comments, and then I don't know if you guys remember at the start, if any of you were watching at the start, how I mentioned that I was knackered. Yeah, sleepy times hit me, folks. But I will read the rest of the comments. Thank you for waiting as well for me listening to me pissing about this, that, and the other. But you know, let's have a look. Oh, Demented Observer, how you doing, mate? My English club is at the top of the Prem, Arsenal. I feel Man City will pull the rug from under our legs and win it by points. Well, to be honest, Observer, do you know? I'm not sure anymore. Like as soon as Man City won that game against you, I just my first reaction was, oh well, that's it. Like Man City will just win it now. But the, I look at that fixture list, and I don't think Arsenal's is actually that bad. I mean, arguably Arsenal have just played their hardest game, which was Newcastle, because they always not struggle against Newcastle, but there's always like a goal in it or something like that. Um, and I look at Arsenal's fixture list, and I'm sure they've got Palace away, which isn't easy. Fair play. Burnley at home, Fulham at home, and West Ham away. Now, look, I'd expect Arsenal to win three out of four of those games. That I know West Ham are like in massive trouble, um, which is also quite funny because if Arsenal want to win the league now, they have to keep Tottenham safe technically by beating West Ham. Sophie's choice. Um, I can't see Arsenal slipping up at London Stadium. I mean, what have the last three results been? What was it? 5-0, 6-0, and 4-1 or something stupid like that. So they'll win all three. But the Palace match, I mean, they're going to be nervous. So the Palace one is the one where I think, but then again, it depends if Crystal Palace have qualified for the Conference League final. Like if I've got and that final is what is it, about a week later or something like that? 10 days. If I'm Palace, I'm putting the reserve team out, and if Man City say, "Oh, why have they put that team out for?" It's like, "Well, sorry, mate, but like I want to go and win a European final. Not asked about your stuff." So yeah, but then I look at Man City's fixtures, and I'm like, what is it, Everton away? I mean, I know Everton haven't been very good the last 3 weeks, especially since we beat them 2-1 at the Palace of Willie Stadium, by the way. Sorry, I will stop saying that at some point. But like Everton away when I'm chasing the league is not where I would especially like to be going. Actually, no, I think Arsenal have got Forest as well, haven't they? Someone like that. But I'm sure Man City have got Villa at home last day of the season. I mean, Villa should have qualified for the Champions League by then. But I mean, again, I'm not Aston Villa last day of the season. I'm not sure if I'd be voting for that. I think they've got a couple more hard fixtures as well. So honestly, observer, like I don't know, right? I really don't know now. I might stick my neck out and go for Arsenal. I just think Arsenal got the easier fixture. The thing is with Arsenal, it just that they need to keep their nerve, and at times I don't think Mikel Arteta helps because he's too. Case in point, Arne Slot has not changed from last season when we were like 15 points clear, exactly the same bloke. When he was allegedly one game from the sack after losing 4-1 to PSV Eindhoven, doesn't raise his voice, he's nice and calm, he answers the questions. He hinted at losing his temper a couple of times, but um, yeah, that's him. He's level. You know what I mean? And this is why I wouldn't say I wasn't worried about qualifying for the Champions League, but I knew the lads would get it together and like say like, right, look, come on, we need to pull this one out of the fire, basically. Oh, Ria, stop where you are. But he's the same bloke, basically. Now, I've noticed with Arteta that he's very. When Arsenal win and say if they get a last minute with it, I'm not one of those people that tells people how to celebrate, and I don't look. If you don't like Arsenal, fine. If you think it's over celebrating, then that's cool. But like telling other supporters how they should and wish to celebrate. It's like, don't be a dick. I don't care if it's Arsenal or not. Like, I have celebrated Liverpool winning the last minute when we've been in eighth place in the Premier League in April. You know what I mean? Like, I like winning in the last minute, and even if Liverpool are in 10th, I will still celebrate. Like, if we beat Manchester United in a game that pretty much means nothing now on Sunday, just to warn you guys, I will be on a live stream on Sunday with 2 bottles of red wine. And you will be watching me dancing in my living room. That'd be good for all of you. But yeah, don't be a dick and tell people how to celebrate. If people want to celebrate, I don't know, last minute wins over Southampton in the 102nd minute, then bloody well let them. You know what I mean? Anyway, Yep, was brilliant. Would much rather they showed more leading up to the death, though. Aye, yeah, 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 yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, Jay, though, if you like. I think Hearts will shit themselves. To be honest, I think it's going to be like that bit in Spider-Man 2 where he all of a sudden he wasn't able to use his web shooters and he leaned over the ledge and went. I just think Hearts will have that moment. Like I said, I'm not qualified to talk about Scottish football that much, but I've watched a few matches here and there, and I just think Celtic, even though they've had a bit of a churn of players, are still going to have championship winners in there. People that have won trebles, people that have played in Europe and are used to being shouted at for I don't know losing to Bayern Munich and stuff like that. Who I just don't think a lot of the Celtic players will be affected. Really? I mean, I could be wrong. You know more than me, Joe, but I think there'll be at least what 10 Celtic players and coaches will just be like, "Oh, we've been here before." You know what I mean? Martin ain't going to be bothered, is he? Some of the things that he's done in his career as a footballer, let alone as a manager, he'll be absolutely bloody fine with it. He'll be having a tipple probably before each match. But yeah, there we go. At least Hibs will have to let us win on Sunday to try and stop Hearts from. Is that the next match? Yeah, I was going to say, mate, that they'll literally be. Can you imagine the fume if Hibernian actually beat Celtic? They'll be chasing their own players off the bloody park. Let's have a look, Liam. Oh, you took your man to see Michael as well. I took her to the light on Friday. Did you? Good man, good man, good man. I went to Cineworld, Liam, because I'm not too far away from the city. White Rose Centre. I'm not a million miles away from there, pal. Like I'm about I don't know, about 10-minute walk from there or something like that. Quite like Cineworld actually. Apart from the some of the, it shouldn't really insult my own townspeople. Some of the divs that we have in Beeston. We had these Here's another random story for you. Me, my mum, and my brother went to go and see, the film Marley, about Bob Marley. Oddly enough, we went to go and take my mum to see that about year and a half ago, something like that. We were all sat watching this film, enjoying it. Not the best film I've ever seen, but we're all sat there. And all of a sudden, these two fucking chavs walk in, and you know the thing that people do in the damn cinema, and I've ranted on about this for years. They decide to start putting videos on, and the light shines, and they all start having conversations about what they're doing afterwards. And those of us who were born in the 80s, have you always not wanted, if there was no fear of reprisal, to walk up to these people, grab them by the scruff of the neck, take them down to the bottom of the cinema, as Jasper Carrot said, and say, "Listen, donkey breath, have some more consideration for people in the cinema." Maybe it's just me being an old person. I know it's a young person's game now, but guys, I literally do not understand, and I've never understood why would you pay. Say you take your missus. This chav did. Um, they paid for tickets, by the way. Um, Halfway through the film, give or take, right? 30 quid, 35 quid, something along the lines. And they got thrown out. So this fella's down 35 quid because him and his missus couldn't stay off the phone for what? I think they were only in there for about 30 minutes. But funnily enough, when they were being chucked out, um, this is why I love Leeds. As much as I complain about Leeds, it is fully round here sometimes. Um, he actually got cheered out. Real Madrid do the hankies. There are all these people going, cheerio, cheerio, cheerio. Anyway, this chav breaks away from the person escorting him out and he goes up to this fella and he's literally like, "I'll meet you outside, lad. I'll meet you outside." You can imagine this chav is about that bloody big, you know what I mean? Scraggly hair and this, that, and the other. But I don't think you can see the fella. This bloke stands up and, like, Brock Lesnar would have run away from this fella. He's like the biggest man that I've ever seen in the world. He's towering above all of us like this. We're all like, and he was like, "1 hour's time, lad." Funnily enough, when we went out, he wasn't there. But yes, yes, it's yes, it's interesting. Leeds is very, very interesting. It really is. But there you go. Good old Leeds. That's not Yorkshire. That's just decent working class frugal. Absolutely, Liam. Absolutely, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with being frugal. Well, I mean, I don't have much of a choice, to be honest. No, like I said, to be honest, Liam, I say, I say I'm frugal. Look, I spent 12 quid on this today. I mean, like, do I need Rhea Ripley next to my bed? That came out very wrong. Also, that last line wasn't the best. You know what I mean? Yeah, did I need to spend 12 quid on this? And it's just like, do you know what? Sometimes I just think, Liam, I'm just like, look, I spend 300 or 400 quid on food for me, our lass, as the locals would say, my kid. 56 quid on the telephone bill, 500 quid on our rent, 600 quid, whatever it is. What else do we have to pay for? Buses into town to go to work. We're up to about 100 quid now, because we don't have a car. Um, what else does one spend on? Credit card bill, obviously. Yeah, you're talking. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Bearing in mind, I got paid yesterday, Liam. I won't say how much I got paid, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if I've got 30% of that wage left on, which is day two after I got paid yesterday. I would be cheerfully surprised. There's probably the reality is I've probably got 20% of that left now because it all goes on bills. So do you know what? Sometimes I do just think to myself, yeah, fucking damn right, I'm going to spend 12 quid on Rhea Ripley's Funko. That was just like, because I'm just like, you can't just spend. I mean, obviously, there's people in the world of art and art goes out to them when they don't have the luxury of choice. But quite frankly, sometimes I'm just like, look, I'm not spending my whole bloody wage on other people's fucking bills, basically. I, I deserve a Funko, and that will be my treat for the month. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I don't need to buy a Rhea Ripley Funko, but like, dude, it's one of these. You've got to have some fun in your life. Anyway, this is kind of how I started doing this as well. Because I've told this story a million times, but the only reason I'm actually doing this is because this was like the videos were going to be used of all my toys to link people to go to my eBay page. That was the whole reason I started this. And then, like I said, if you've heard this story before, I apologise, but I was literally walking down to Ellen Road and it just hit me like, oh, I can do some filming of Ellen Road and people will look at my eBay page. And I still haven't clicked on. And then I looked and I was like, bloody hell, like 1,000 people looked at this video. And then I literally went, hang on, wait a minute, I go to wrestling shows and football. Oh, a fluke, basically, a fluke. But yes, there we go. There we go. Bliss, Alexa. What's your opinion review on the Raw show last night? Well, I've kind of just done that, Observer, but to be honest, Observer, I thought, like I said in the review, mate, I thought the first half was very good. I really enjoyed the Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins segment. I thought that was classed. I was really annoyed that the crowd weren't more into it. That's what got on me nerves right at the start. I thought Becky Lynch versus Io Sky was absolute mustard. I thought it was great. I really liked the Roman thing, apart from the stupid bit where he looked at the camera. That totally broke me off with that. The Yeah, and so the first half was absolutely fine, not a problem. So it was just the second half. Um, Actually, one thing I didn't say was the Rusev versus Penta match because I was going on about ego, all ego Ethan Page's theme music for about half an hour, but the match that Penta and Rusev had was actually very good. I did mention that before, so shout out to the two lads. It was good, and the Javon Evans cutter that he does is absolute bloody work of art. So yeah, the first half was really good, and I don't know what it was, Observer. There was just something towards the end where it was like, crowd's completely dead, and it's just gone completely flat. Um, so yeah, that's why I gave it a C plus. I think if the crowd had been red hot, let's say if it was crowd in Chicago or Boston or somewhere like that, where the crowd are really up and everything, I think if the crowd interaction had been better, I probably would have given it a B minus, B plus, something along those lines. But just because the crowd took me out of it, I'm going to say C plus. But like I said, shout out to AJ Lee and Becky Lynch and Io Sky. I thought that match was absolutely fantastic, like 8 or 9 out of 10. So I'd say a C plus observer. But yeah, it is what it is. They can't have a knockout show every week, can they? Hey, Boris, mate, how you going? You all right? Shout out to Ghana, one of our African neighbours. Absolutely, absolutely, observer. Like I said, I will be sat there. I'll be sat there in the boozer with all the English lads. Literally like this. Hopefully, no one recognises me. I didn't actually. Oh, that's the point. Hopefully, no one recognises me. It's like, aren't you that Ghana guy in Leeds? That shit. No, to be honest, observe. I'm probably gonna. It's probably gonna be me and my brother watching it at my mum's house because obviously my mum was married to a Ghanaian man. Obviously, because I wouldn't be here otherwise. Um, sorry. Um, but yeah, I think I'll probably watch the match from the safety of my mum's house. It, I don't. I'm not like a lot of Liverpool fans. I don't have anything against the England football team. God, how does one put this? I wish England all the best, and I get why Scousers don't. Absolutely fine. It's totally understandable, to be completely honest. Um, it's hard for me to. I can get behind the players. It's hard for me to get behind the concept of England at the moment, given what the country is like in respects of people's opinions of me. I hope that comes across not as me being an arsehole or arrogant. It's just literally I wish England all the best. If they win the World Cup, absolutely fine with me. I'm sure Jay Celtic would not agree with that. But given some of the things that are happening at the moment and some of the opinions that have now been made mainstream, I find it very difficult to get behind England as I once did. Hopefully that makes some semblance of sense. Let's have a look. Jay Celtic, yes, of course. I don't even care about Scotland, just want whoever England play to win. Good lad, Jay Celtic. Right, Jay, give me your address, mate, and I'll send you a Ghana shirt. No, not really. But yeah, if you could put a Ghana flag outside your house, mate, that'd be great. By the way, I actually have two giant Ghanaian flags, and I had a right blonde moment. Am I still allowed to say blonde moment? Oh crap! I had a right male blonde moment. There we go. Well, I said to my missus, like, "Oh, the World Cup, love, I can put this at the main bedroom," and she looked at me like she literally leans in like and looks at me. Sometimes I wonder why on earth I went out with you. And then she just walked off, and I was like, "What's she on about?" And she calls back up, "Give it a minute." I was like, "All right, fair enough." Oh, because we're playing England and people might be. Yes, that's the one, love. I was like, oh, right, okay, fair enough. So, so, yeah, I might put it up after we've played England, maybe. I don't know. Or I might just put it in the house. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Joe. That wall, I'm going to put my Ghana flag there. In fact, I think for those who have been listening since the start, that might be the thing the missus allows me to do. She did say cultural. It's a lovely flag. Um, I might just do that actually. It's genius. Absolutely genius. But there we go. Let's have a look. Richard, how you doing, mate? You're all right. Sorry that I'm so far beyond the comments, folks. I do apologise. I hope Ghana takes it all the way in terms of being the only country left in the World Cup. Oh, Observer, I would love that, mate. I would love it. Like I still remember. I I probably shouldn't say this to be honest, because it involves my ex girlfriend, who I'm still friends with to this day. We've got a good relationship now and everything. But I during World Cup 2010, which was the one in oh my god, where was the 2010 one? Someone hit us up. Where was the World Cup 2010? It wasn't Holland, was it? I've completely forgot. Anyway, me and my missus at the time had a blazing row about something or other. God knows what it was. I was a bit of a dick back in the day, so it was probably my fault. Anyway, um, so I went to Headingley in Leeds. If you don't know where Headingley is, it's basically where the cricket, the cricket ground is where England play, and then the Leeds Rhinos. It's all in and around the area. It's like the main student area of Leeds, basically. So I went up to Headingley, met one of the lads, and Ghana were playing the United States. And one of the boys said he'd come out and watch it with me, and I was just like, "Oh, thank you for watching Ghana," because obviously I don't know that many Ghanaians. And he was just like, "It's fine, mate. It's free football. If I've got a pint in my hand, I'm not asked." I was like, "Oh, cool, nice one." So obviously Ghana scored first. I think the States equalised, and then Asamoah Gyan, I don't know if I'm sure people have seen this before, gets this ball, takes it on, goes on his fight, and he bends it in sort of like the top right hand corner. And I was literally like, come on, running around the beer garden. I think it might have been one of the only times where I got the full belly out, literally got the shirt, and I'm running around the beer garden like that. And I suddenly realised where I was and quickly put my shirt back on. And yeah, it was. I found these Ghanaians who were actually from Ghana, unlike me, um, and I'm literally like bouncing around with them and this, that, and the other. Because my dad unfortunately died before he could teach me Ewe, which was his dialect. Um, the Ghanaians are trying to speak to me, but I can't learn languages. I am shit, basically. I have tried to learn languages before, and I'm absolutely hopeless. Anyway, so they're trying to speak whichever dialect of Ghanaian it was that they were trying to speak. I'm speaking to them in English, but it was just the joy of football. We just carried on hugging each other, and they were just like, bye bye, and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, get in, lads. But yeah, no, it was awesome, absolutely awesome. But I still remember, to be honest, Observer, this is why I've always had a bit of a problem with Luis Suarez. And I've told this story before, being a Liverpool fan. When Suarez did that handball, and then when we went out and Suarez is going up to the Ghanaian fans, giving them bifters when the Uruguayan section was literally down that way. If I could have jumped through the TV at the time, I would have absolutely sparked him. I was livid with that man beyond words. Absolutely livid. And it was like, well, at least I don't have to see that wanker ever again. So cut to a few months later, me and the me and the lads, um, I'm sure we used to be alcoholics, Me and the lads basically decided one day after work that we were all going to go to the pub to watch Transfer Deadline Day, as you do. And it's the middle of January. Obviously it's late January. We're all sat there, freezing bloody cold, and lads are on the phones trying to find out who Leeds have signed and this, that, and the other. We're all watching. Um, and I go and get a round of beers in for the lads. Asked them what they wanted. They were like lager. I was like, all right, fair enough. Come back with the beers. And all the lads are sat there sniggering. What the hell are they doing? And I suddenly realised they're laughing at me. I was like, one of them would probably put bloody whoopee cushion under my arse or something. Um, so I went away to go to the gents, came back, and they were all still laughing. I was like, right, lads, I've been at work all day. What are we laughing at? And it got to the point where they were in hysterics, and one of them managed to get out, look at screen, lad. I was like, fine, fine, fine. And I look up, and I see Luis Suarez there, and he's wearing a Liverpool shirt. I didn't have the best temper back in the day. I had to go outside, and I had to, because the boozer was only around the corner from my house. I had to go back to my house and calm myself down to come back to the pub. Literally walk back in. The lads like, "Hey, you finished your tantrum yet?" Honestly, I was livid, livid. I mean, obviously, look, I will always hate Luis Suarez, but I do acknowledge he's one of the best players to ever play for Liverpool Football Club. But yeah, absolutely furious, to be honest with that, because Ghana should have won. And if they got into the semis, I think it would have been what was it, Holland? Look, I mean, we would have had to have played Spain in the final. Would Ghana have beaten that Spain team? Probably not. Probably not. But you don't know. And we had that opportunity ripped away from us. And yes, I know Gian was the one who missed the penalty, but at the end of the day, Ghana nearly scored, and Luis Suarez stopped that, and he will always be a complete arsehole for that. And yes, I am a Liverpool fan, but I am also Ghanaian. Yeah, life is strange sometimes. You've got a lot of patience for Man United fans, mate. Oh, it's like, to be honest, Jay, I've got like mates who are Man United fans. Have I got an Everton fan? I used to have a best mate who was an Everton fan. To be honest, there's a lot of us, Jay, that are like we. Bear in mind we're in Leeds. In our group. There's Leeds fans, couple of Newcastle fans, three of us are Liverpool. Um, Yeah, I think that's about it, actually, funnily enough. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. If there were Rangers fans trying to speak to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Jay, I used to be like that. Like, so I think that's probably why I've gone the other way, Jay. To be honest, because literally, God, this is quite embarrassing now because obviously I don't believe in violence and stuff like that. Well, I mean, unless it's to specific people like Luis Suarez, of course, for destroying my country's chances of winning the World Cup. No, there was nearly an incident once with a Man United fan, which I'm not proud of. Nothing happened, but I might as well tell it now. So, it was the match where Diego Forlan scored 2 goals for Man United against Liverpool. And fair play, Man United deserved to win the match. They were better than us on the day. And obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I was fuming, as Man United fans would be if we lose to Liverpool and blah, 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 blah. But I'm sat there having a pint, and all of us have got Liverpool shirts on, and obviously there's hardly any Man United fans because, yeah, we're in Leeds. I mean, obviously the situation is different now, but this was back in the day. This was like 25 years ago. And this drunk Man United fan comes walking in and starts, not even Liverpool, he starts taking the piss out of Leeds United. And there's these fellas behind me, backs go up straight away, like, mate. But this fellow won't have it at all. And then he catches us. It's like, hey, Liverpool fans and Leeds fans. And then there was various, oh, God, how do I put this? Homophobic suggestion is the politest thing I could say. I did not take very kindly to this. And I had a sneaky look at a pint glass. Fortunately, one of the lads looked at me, he's known me for years, looked at me dead in the eye and said, and then common sense immediately kicked in. And I'm not proud of that. Obviously, nothing happened, but had I been on my own and I'd had a few by that point, then so that's probably why I'm the way I am, Jay. Because like, look, it's one of these yeah, it's fine giving each other, pelters, this, that, the other, but keep it like a bit of banter's fine. Saying your club's shit and this player's a knobhead and this, that, and the other. I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally whatsoever. Just keep it, light-hearted. There's nothing wrong with shouting at the players. The players are used to it. As long as it's not anything to do with the families or the colour of the skin, the players will be absolutely fine with it. And being called the W word, look, they're not going to pay a blind bit of notice and they'll be absolutely fine with it. It's when it goes over the top, and that was the one time in my life where it could have gone over the top. And like I said, it's not a cool thing to have to admit to. And like, I don't know what on earth I was thinking. It was, I mean, fortunately, like I said, I didn't get a chance to do it. So one of the lads conned on to what I was thinking of doing. And he literally said to me, "You go for a walk, come back." Best advice I ever had. So yeah, not proud of that at all. Because it's bloody stupid at the end of the day. Completely stupid. I mean, I could have ended up bloody. Well, who knows? But yeah, not proud of that at all, mate. That's why I am the way I am. It's just not worth having these tear ups that you see fans having with each other. I've always just been like, why do you go to a football match to fight for? I know why as a bloke you would, but I still don't get it. As it, it's just bloody stupid at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Did you watch the Champions League semi? Hello, Richard. I didn't, Richard. No, I was saying earlier to Liam, I completely missed the whole thing because I was watching Raw to prepare for tonight. And then I finished watching Raw just before I came on live. I was like, I've missed the bloody Paris Saint Germain match, haven't I? And I was kind of hoping in the back of my mind, oh, well, it would have been a nice sort of, it would have been a tight, feisty 0-0 game. And Liam informed me it was 5-4, so I'm even more annoyed now. So yeah, I'm going to watch the highlights just quickly before I go to bed. Speaking of which, folks, I will be going to bed shortly. Yeah, sacking our last free manager. Oh, am I that far behind the comments? Oh, sorry, guys, I do apologise. Free managers has amounted to more than 30 million quid. Well, I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? 30 million quid. Mate, at the game at the weekend, I sat next to this American guy. He was about 23, 25, and he knew all the songs and was almost as passionate. We were hugging at the goals, all sorts, top man. Well, yeah, that's the thing, Jay. Isn't it? Like I said, I'd like to hope people would think the same as me at Anfield. I don't just sit on my hands. I mean, obviously, it's different for me because I hold my hands up because I'm a vlogger. That's what I do. But like, if you've seen my Liverpool vlogs, I'm trying not to undersell myself here. They're not works of art because I am literally like shaking the camera around, going, "God, like this and this, that, and the other." I always manage to get the goals. I don't know how. I think I've missed one or two or something like that. But it's just a bit of a not. It's not skill. Obviously, all you're doing is holding a phone up. It's just one of these. You just keep it level with your chest, give or take. Because I'm quite a tall bloke. If I keep it roughly here, I know I'm going to pick up something. If you just keep it there, job done. And it's just a case of flicking the record button on when the team's attacking. But yeah, dude, that's what you want, isn't it? You want the support at the end of the day. It doesn't matter where people are from. What I'm saying though, dude, is when I go to see Liverpool, I want to see a stadium full of Scousers, basically. And let's say, I don't know, 5% foreigners and other places in Britain, basically. I think that's absolutely fine. Maybe 10%, something along those lines. I don't want to see a load of tourist fans, including from England as well, by the way, just going from ground to ground. Because you might just have people that, who, if you end up in that culture, mate, you might have people one week going, oh, I'll go to Chelsea this week, then I'll fly to Newcastle, then I'll go and see Manchester United. And it's just like, no, it's just, yeah. It's not. JSL, that's great. I remember standing next to a lad from Singapore in the 2011. He was so passionate to be at Old Trafford. My issue is you can't sustain 85k tourists. So, agreed, mate, agreed. PL is a tourist league, and that has been since COVID, unfortunately. Um, yeah, I agree. Sound anyway. Got to go. Oh, sorry, Jay, that I've missed you. Haven't I? Said Jay Salt said hi, Jay Salt. I was about to say that sounds like a Goldberg angle. Yeah, Roman Reigns is almost too perfect. Well, yeah, that's the thing, Liam. That's kind of what I'm getting. Actually, looks like he's been chiseled out of a lump of rock, doesn't he? You know what I mean? It's just like obviously he's believable. And he's a good promo Roman. He's not CM Punk, and he's not. I actually think I did. Do you know what I actually did? One person I thought was very underrated as a promo. I thought AJ Styles was really good, really good, very underrated. The Moon Arsenal have goal difference if City and Arsenal win all of the remaining games. I back City to get more goals. Yeah, possibly. No, I can't abide that. Yeah. Boris, did you see the Hulk Hogan Netflix? I did, Boris. Yes, it was. It wasn't quite as manufactured as I was expecting to be. Look, they still put Hogan over on a lot of things, and they still, at least they said about the racism thing. The racism and the Gork thing seemed to pass over very quickly, and then when I saw Donald Trump, mate, I was, I was just literally. I think I said out loud to my missus and son were there at the time. I was like, there isn't a fucking newspaper, a bloody website. Even when I shut my eyes, bearing in mind I'm nowhere near him, you can't effing get away from Donald Trump. Well, I've just literally come to watch a wrestling documentary, and there's his big fat arse sat in front of me again. You know what I mean? You're just like, for God Almighty. So yeah, that really didn't help. But to be honest, Boris, it was all right actually. I thought it was decent. I thought it was more revealing than I was expecting it to be. It was still very lovey-dovey Hogan. I mean, the bit with him looking like, I just don't understand why people were booing me for. It's like, mate, you're in California. You just voted for Donald Trump, and you've also been racist, and you've, without wishing to be too blunt, done someone else's wife over. Of course, people aren't going to bloody like you. What do you think was going to happen? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a loaded question. Welcome to the club of hating Lewis Suarez. Oh, like I said, Liam, because I'm a Ghana fan, mate. I joined that club a long time before you did. Like I said, I despise that. I know it seems really, really stupid. Um, and obviously, he then put me in a really awkward position just to cap it off as a black man after what he did to Patrice Evra. Because obviously, at the time, as I'm sure you can appreciate, Liam, I was, look, I mean, there's obviously a rivalry of Liverpool and Man United, but I'm black as well. And I looked at what Evra did, and the excuse was like, oh, well, I won't say the word, obviously, but it's the Spanish way of saying it. And straight away I smelled a rat, and I was like, no, it isn't. I mean, it is, but like, that will not have been the way in which it was said. I can pretty much guarantee that. And when the players played against Wigan, they had all those shirts. I mean, I know Carra's apologised about it since, and quite a few of the other lads have done as well. But like, to be honest, Liam, it made me extremely uncomfortable, as I'm sure you can imagine. And yeah, I was not hugely impressed by that. So, not only have you knocked my team out of the World Cup by cheating, you have now just racially insulted the black man, and you've got yourself banned whilst playing for my football club on two separate occasions for biting. Yeah, I was never going to like Luis Suarez, but absolute Richard Head, mate, huge Richard Head. Bearing in mind how poor Holland were in that final, I would have given Ghana a chance at the World Cup in Africa. Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah. No, duh. Yeah, no, of course it was. Thank you. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's the thing, Liam. We're never going to know, are we? I mean, I don't think that Holland team. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had Iron Robin and people like that. I think Van Persie would have been playing for them at the time. They had a decent team. I didn't think it was anything that special, to be completely honest. I mean, Holland would have been favourites, obviously, but I would have given us at least a bit of a chance, to be fair. But yeah, obviously we're never going to know, are we? Right, guys. Anyway, and Liam, thank you very much, mate, for staying with me all night. But remember how I mentioned I was knackered? I'm also knackered. Plus, I've just realised it is now 1 o'clock in the morning, which is not quite when I was intending on going to bed. It's been lovely talking to you, mate. Thanks for hanging out with me, mate. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, sound bloke, and thanks for chatting with me. And everyone else who's watched the stream as well. Right, guys, do I need to tell you anything? Right, just very quickly, because I can literally see the sheep jumping over meadows in front of me. You may actually see me fall to sleep on the live stream, which would be very embarrassing. What have I got coming up? Right, I'll be back on Thursday for AW Dynamite. Friday. Oh, that's a point. Yeah. Saturday, I'll definitely be watching the late night. I'll be doing the late night SmackDown reaction show. Right, guys. Like I said, it's Liverpool versus Man United on Sunday, and I know this is very petty and childish. If, which I'm sure Liam will laugh at, if we do not lose to Manchester United, you will see me on Sunday. if we lose to Manchester United, um, I have more chance of being voted Miss Teen USA than you are of seeing me on Sunday. So I will be immediately changing the live feed to Monday. Now, like I said, I mean, the match isn't really that important. I mean, Man United's qualified. We've basically qualified. So it's basically a glorified pre-season friendly now. So, but yeah, I still won't be on Sunday. Obviously, it goes without saying I will be on Sunday if it is a draw, and if it is the other result, I might be free sheets to the wind. So I apologise in advance. But yeah, either way, I'll be on Sunday or Monday. What's cracking off after that? Monday Night Raw again next week. I will be watching Backlash. That's the thing, yeah. No, because a week on Saturday, it's Liverpool versus Chelsea, and then it's Backlash at like 12:30 or something like that. So yeah, that'll be cool. And then, like I said, I've got all the Liverpool trips coming up. Got York Pride coming up, and hopefully, providing we can get tickets, Ghana versus Wales in about 4 or 5 weeks. So things are going to start ramping up now, and yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good summer. Yeah, like I said, I'm completely knackered. But yeah, there we go. No, guys, seriously, thank you all of you for watching me. Liam, again, top bloke. Thank you for watching, mate. Your support's really appreciated, and it's lovely to talk to you. Right then, folks, at 2 minutes past 1 in the morning, I will bid you all good night, and I will see you again in a couple of days. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.